Financial stability at the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Joseph France. Let's find out how the city is performing this morning. And let's go to the interbank foreign exchange market where banks trade among themselves. The dollar remained unchanged, selling at 11 cedis. The British pound gained a peso, selling at 14 cedis, 3 pesos. The euro also gained a peso, selling at 12 cedis and 12 pesos. If you go to forex bureaus around the capital of Accra, the dollar is selling at 11 cedis, 75 pesos, while the British pound could be sold to you at 14 cedis, 30 pounds, and the euro at 13 cedis. Now, the Ghana Association of Savings and Loans Companies has disclosed that it has begun recovering from the shocks of the implementation of the domestic debt exchange program. According to the association, it will continue to offer financial support to the small and medium enterprises to help build economic resilience and inspire confidence in the savings and loans companies. He is Executive Secretary of the association, Chinebua Kodie Boache.
We see that people are beginning to understand the essence of the exercise the nation went through. Initially, there were some apprehensions, there were uncertainties, but now people are beginning to appreciate it. We have seen customers coming back with their funds that they, through panic withdrawal, withdrew from the institutions. We have seen people now honoring their loan obligations, but we must also emphasize that it's very important that we all support the financial sector, because even if you are into real estate, you will still have to use a bank to remit your funds into the country. And so the banking sector is very key, that we all need to play our role to making sure that the right capital, the right funds are made available to individuals and businesses.
Chinebua Kodie Boache is the Executive Secretary of the Ghana Association of Savings and Loans Companies. Now, the Ghana Standards Authority says it will continue to enforce market standards to safeguard consumers. According to the authority, it is intensifying surveillance to ensure products being sold are of good quality and meet the specification of customers. In an interview, Citi Business News on the sidelines of the inauguration of a joint committee with the Engineering Council on Industry Standards, Director General of the Standards Authority, Professor Alex Dodu, emphasized that its outfit will work to strictly check the proliferation of substandard goods by prioritizing certification in the manufacturing sector.
Indeed, consumer protection is number one for construction materials specifically. The Standards Authority realized that people trying to build go and buy concrete products. They buy pavement blocks, they buy concrete blocks. And what we notice is that the standards of most of them were not up to scratch. They will not last and they could cause damage. So what have we done? We have started certifying cement products. So if you buy a GSA certified block, you know that this is certified and it meets the requirements. It's not too much water or too little sand or too little cement. It is according to the standard that is required to be used. The same for concrete products. Have we removed the ones which are not certified on the market? The answer is no. We have been talking and engaging with the local government service because the production of cement blocks goes on all over the country. And we are hoping that through our collaboration with the local government service, we can use local authorities to enforce what they would ordinarily be enforcing, but we are just giving them the technical support, the testing facilities, and of course, raising funds for the GSA, but also creating jobs.
That was Professor Alex Dodu. He's the Director General of the Ghana Standards Authority. Let's now join Mark Jordan Sikanate of Data Bank with the latest updates on the bonds market.
The local secondary bond market was dormant in the early sessions of this week, leaving the Data Bank bond index unchanged at 78.75 points, with an average rate to maturity of 13.92%. This week, the Ghanaian Treasury plans to rake in 1.78 billion Ghana cedis across the 91-day to the 182-day bills to refinance estimated maturities worth 1.68 billion Ghana cedis. Yields on these tenors are currently quoted at 24.39% and 26.03% respectively.
That was Mark Jordan Sikanate of Data Bank with the latest updates on the bonds market. Well, that's it for the breakfast edition of Citi Business News, brought to you by MTN and GOL, and also powered by your most comprehensive business news website, citibusinessnews.com. My name is Vivian Kai. Loco, do have a good business day.
If home is where the heart is, then let's go home. Shall we? Let's go where the entertainment is, where the passion is, where the laughter is, and sometimes even the tears too. Let's go where we feel safe enough to share our opinions.
And send tweets.
Where we do that embarrassing little dance to our favorite song. Let's go home where the love, the care, and the joy live.
There's no place like home. Connect your home to super fast internet with affordable data bundles from MTN Home. Visit broadband.mtn.com.gh or your My MTN app to sign up today. MTN.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
Well, hey, hey. The I want and I'm into me for a while, bro. Rama Miniji was so now to my and to my cry and one I mean you prefer. Oh, do you want me to catch you? What you know?
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
Passengers, Mama, me 2 minutes per why. Neighbor Cecilia.
Oh, driver, you can't do this in London.
Oh, English, madam. We dear Miss 1 minute per why.
Shell,
Driver, we're in a hurry, please. What's all this about?
Oh, madam. Help me say thank you to Shell. Shell Fuel Save lasts longer and helps us to save more money to do more things. Also, because I'm a member of the Shell Club, I get loyalty points every time I buy fuels that I use to redeem gifts I love. I can get third-party insurance for my car, free medical insurance, provisions for my home, and many more. Shell day my side. In fact, when I see another Shell station, I will hug everyone there.
Hey, driver, what the fire kwanza?
Hey, English, madam. Into TG.
Enjoy numerous benefits when you buy fuel from Shell. Get loyalty points to claim third-party car insurance, family medical cover, provisions, and many more for free. Driver, Shell day your side. Go well.
Let's go. If you need unique services, innovative financial solutions, we deliver on our promise, cause we are number one. Let's go, we improve your life. Let's go, hey mama, hey mama, hey mama. Even when you're stuck with nothing, come to Let's go. No matter your situation, come to Let's go. Let's go, we improve your life. Let's go, hey, let's go, hey, let's go, hey mama, hey mama, hey mama. Let's go, we improve your life.
Leshego Savings and Loans. Let's improve life.
Unleashing the power of relevant radio. This is Citi 97.3.
Kickoff coming up shortly. Before that, City Business News with Vivian was brought to you by Goyle. Don't top up anywhere when you run out of fuel from your vehicle. Insist on Goyle Super XP 95, a high-grade fuel sold at the same price as normal fuel. And the Diesel XP is low in sulfur, making it an eco-friendly option for your car. We have over 440 stations across the nation. Join the family that rewards you with quality for an energized driving experience. It was also brought to us by MTN. It's a new world of doing business, and your business shouldn't be left out. It's time to get a Momo for Business today to accept payment from our 15 million Momo customers. All you need is a business registration certificate and a Ghana card. Applying to be MTN Momo merchant has been simple and fast. Dial *5051#, fill the prompts, or apply online at momomerchantapplication.mtn.com.gh. Report any fraudulent charges using the Momo app, available on the Play Store and the App Store. Kickoff is next, brought to you by Leshegui.
I love that song.
Leshegui. I don't even know why they worry themselves. They should just be playing the song every day. We'll go and take the loan.
Yeah, so more people can shoot it.
We don't need to say anything. Just sing the song. Leshegui. That's all, If you want 91 day, 182 day, 3, they will give you everything you want, So call them on 0577 70 77 00. Leshehu, let's improve life. Kick off with Gabi Ofe is also brought to us by Shell Helix HX 20 W50. Contains additives, protects your engines, reduces maintenance cost. We have the drum 209 liters, the 5 liter, and the 1 liter. Contains active cleansing technology to prevent harmful sludge and deposits. Shell Helix, designed for ultimate engine performance. All right, so Gabi Ofe is taking us into the sport. Take it up, Gabi.
All right, Thursday morning, welcome on board to kick off on the Citi Breakfast Show with me, Gabi Ofe. Coming up this morning, we'll get to hear from GFA boss Keto Kreku on the importance of having a football identity following the launch of Ghana's football DNA. Also, the Black Satellites have one job to do this afternoon in the Wafu Zone B Boys Cup of Nations against Cote d'Ivoire. Also in tennis.
Be a difficult match, but I'm going to keep the spirit on the court, and hopefully the crowd will be with me.
It seems like that's the case most of the time. Congratulations to Ons Jabeur.
All right, so Tunisia's Ons Jabeur shoot to the semi-finals of Wimbledon. She'll now face Arina Sabalenka later today.
Over the years, like I said earlier,
All right, so my name is Gabi Ofe. Let's start off with this, where GFA boss Keto Kreku has emphasized the importance of having a football identity following the unveiling of Ghana's football DNA as the official coaching and playing philosophy of the nation, or the national football philosophy is the result of extensive research conducted by the GFA Technical Directorate, incorporating valuable input from coaches, administrators, players, referees, supporters, and traditional authorities, and also women in football, the media, and politicians. Now, speaking at the launch, Keto Kreku stated it is imperative Ghana football takes a new direction with regards to an identity across all the national teams.
over the years, like I said earlier, there have been references to Ghana's brand of football. And I recall in clear terms examples such as the multi-system that was coined by our celebrated late national coach, Sam Ade, of blessed memory, and Agro, coined by many a Ghanaian, and in recent times, championed by the legendary Professor Mohamed Ahmed Polo. We have also heard about the Brazilian samba. We hear about the German machine. We hear about the catenaccio. Indeed, these are but a few examples of how nation states have built identities for their football. As we, as the Ghana Football Association, have said time without number, the fundamentals of our football need to be strengthened if we are to take our rightful place amongst football's nations of the world. It is in this vein that the idea to identify the trends or the threats of our football DNA was conceived.
All right, so that's GFA boss Keto Kreku speaking there. Well, let's stay with the launch. And Bernard Lippert, he's the GFA's technical director. He slammed the negativity or the negative actions and narratives by Ghanaians and fingered these traits as issues affecting the GFA's activities. Now, Lippert believes as a positive attitude from Ghanaians and the media is key to ensure the philosophy is implemented right.
One of the biggest challenges, especially for our GFA, is a lot of negativity here in the country. I would beg all stakeholders to implement such a thing like this, to help each other, to be positive. Media people, there is too much negativity. Everybody talks about football. Give solutions, be positive, work together. Sports Ministry, Ministry of Education, our GFA, private sponsors for football. We have to come closer together to get these things done.
All right, so that's GFA's technical director, Bernard Lippert, speaking. Then, speaking of the national teams, the Black Stars vote today discover who they must overcome to qualify for the 2026 FIFA World Cup to be hosted in Canada, Mexico, and the United States of America. The Black Stars, they are in pot 2, so they come up, they are in that pot with Burkina Faso, South Africa, Cape Verde, DR Congo, Guinea. There's also Zambia, Gabon, and Equatorial Guinea that pot there. So that's in regards to the official draw for the FIFA World Cup 2026 African qualifiers, which will be conducted later today in Cote d'Ivoire. And speaking of Cote d'Ivoire, the Black Satellites are in action later this afternoon at 3 p.m. against the Ivorians, who are the hosts of the WAFU Zone B Boys Cup of Nations. Buedu side, they must win against the Ivorians to avoid elimination from the tournament after picking up a draw against Niger and losing comfortably against Burkina Faso by 2-0 in that tournament. So it's not looking good for Ghana's Black Satellites all the way in Cote d'Ivoire. Well, to some club football stories, in Accra Hearts of Oak board member Dr. Nyawo Tamako has questioned the commitment of the club's current squad following an underwhelming display in the last couple of seasons. The Phobians enjoyed some glory days under former coach Samuel Buedu, where he guided the team to a treble conquest in the 2020-21 season, clinching the Premier League, the FA Cup, and the Super Cup, and followed it up with another FA Cup trophy in the following year. Now, when asked about the state of the current team, Tamako had some strong words for the playing body.
Those days, when you wear a jersey in Accra House of Hope, you feel proud. And I think it is important to mention that the players were very humble. Very humble. They were given peanuts, but they played their hearts out for the club, and that is what we lack now. But of course, these were players with a lot of skills, because we played a match also with Kotoko, I remember. Also, they were leading by 2 goals, Kotoko. That was in Kumasi, I remember, years ago. And we were able to equalize the 2 and defeated them 4-2. That's also for you follow me. So these are some of the things that...
All right, so that's Accra Hearts of Oak's board member, Dr. Nyawo Tamaklo speaking there. Well, in Europe, Mason Mount made his Manchester United debut as Eric Ten Hag's team kicked off pre-season with a 2-0 win over Leeds United all the way in Norway. Mason came close to opening the scoring with an ambitious attempt from distance early in the game, but it required second-half goals from Noam Emeran and Joe Hagel to secure a victory for the Premier League club. Let's hear from United manager Eric Ten Hag on Mason Mount's performance.
First time, but we could expect this. And I think for him it's just his first, because he has so much skills, and I'm sure we will take so much joy from him.
Yeah, he will
contribute to our performance, absolutely.
Yes.
All right, so that's United's manager Eric Ten Hag speaking there. Let's also hear from Mason Mount after getting some minutes in the red shirt for the very first time.
Yeah, very good. Obviously, we've had a week of training, so great to get that first game going. We've been working very hard, so yeah, it's good to now put it into practice and play on the pitch now. Yeah, no, we've definitely been working on a few tactics coming into the game. Obviously, that first week is mostly focused on getting the legs going again, getting the distance in the legs running, preparing for these games. But no, I've definitely got a great understanding of how the manager wants to work and how the boys play. And obviously now it's using these games to work at it more and put it into practice when we get on the pitch.
All right, so that's United's red signing that Macy Mount speaking there. Now to some transfer stories. And Lazio midfielder Serge Milinkovic-Savic has joined Saudi Arabian club Al Hilal. The Serbian is the latest player to move to the club, joining Kalidou Koulibaly and Ruben Neves, who left Chelsea and Wolves respectively earlier this summer. Aston Villa have also completed the signing of centre-back Pau Torres from Spanish side Villarreal. Torres arrives from head coach Unai Emery's former club in a deal that will cost an initial £33 million, the second highest fee in Villa's history, behind only the £38 million they paid for Emiliano Buendia back in 2021. Wrapping up with tennis, and world number 2 Novak Djokovic says he's readying himself for a rematch in the semi-finals of the Wimbledon against Italy's Yannick Sinner later tomorrow. The Serb, who is aiming to match Margaret Court's record of 24 major singles titles, fall back to win 4-6, 6-1, 6-4, 6-3 in the quarterfinals against Russia's Andriy Rublev. In the women's singles, Ukraine's Elena Svitolina is up against Marketa Vondrousova of Czech Republic in the first semis this afternoon. Later, Tunisia's Ons Jabeur will take on Arina Sabalenka of Belarus in the second semi-final. Let's hear from Ons Jabeur after progressing to the semis.
I saw she won very quick, which I wasn't happy with, but I was looking at the score, but yeah, she's an amazing player. It's very fast like Elena, so it's gonna be very challenging. I know she's someone that has been playing amazing this year. I mean, she's #1 in the race right now, so it's gonna be a difficult match, but I'm gonna keep this spirit on the court, and hopefully the crowd will be with me.
All right, so Tunisia's Ons Jabeur hoisting the flag of Africa high at this year's Wimbledon. That's all the latest for today. We've got a lot of more stories for you at citisportsonline.com and on Twitter at citisportsgh. My name is Gabby Ofer. Take care of yourself and bye-bye.
I've got Bell back and I won't let go.
My name is Nanama McBrown. Many people think I get what I want anytime because I am popular. No, that is not true. It is because me and Kasano, I like the best, and when I find it, I stick to it. I have found Bell Pack Tea Roll, and I'm stuck with it. It is soft but not weak, strong but not hard. It is just perfect. Bell Pack Tea Roll is smooth and gentle on the skin. Same as Bell Pack Kitchen Towel. It cleans in one wipe. You can soak, squeeze, and clean again. One Bell Pack Kitchen Towel lasts longer and saves you money. It's time you switch to Bell Pack today and experience the perfect paper tissue. Say pocket tissue, table napkins, tea roll, and a kitchen towel. Paper Chow. Bell Pack is simply the best. Bell Pack, just perfect.
To be a Bell Pack distributor, call 055-11-44400. Another quality product from Bell Aqua.
It feels so good like Bell Pack.
My name is Seth Mark Ando, a certified registered anesthetist. We've known Old Mutual for 5 years now. And for us, Old Mutual is more than an insurer. Old Mutual is a family. Since we began having a relationship with Old Mutual, in fact, we've enjoyed a lot because of their tailor-made products that they give the association. Now, our retirees are excited. Our prospective retirees are also happy going on pension. And those of us who will be going on pension later on in life, we also believe we have a future, all because of Old Mutual. Old Mutual is 10 years. And on behalf of my president and the entire membership of GACRA, we say congratulations to Old Mutual.
Old Mutual, celebrating 10 years of greatness.
Call us now on 050-157-9204.
Home is your sanctuary. So set the mood with candles, fragrances, ambient lighting, and beautiful art to create that unique atmosphere that feels like home. Visit the Orchid Deco Superstore on Spinkters Road today.
United by a common purpose, we have led our customers to seize their future. People are at the heart of our business, and their financial well-being is our utmost priority. As Bayport celebrates 20 years, we honor the profound impact on employees, customers, and communities. Join and experience us on this transformative journey towards a brighter tomorrow.
My name is Faith Asasen Kasa, and I joined the Bayport Scholarship Scheme in 2000.
2012. The scholarship catered for all my fees throughout my 6 years of medical education, including academic fees, accommodation, payment for medical equipment and textbooks. This gave me the peace of mind to focus on my education, and I am grateful to Bayport Savings and Loans and helping me come this far in life. But for Bayport, where would I be?
Bayport Savings and Loans, celebrating 20 years of needs met, opportunities created, plans accomplished, hopes realized, and dreams fulfilled. Bayport, your future now.
Join the conversation on the Citi Breakfast Show on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag CitiCBS.
Well, hey, hey. Usitaze the awon and namu into me friend one bro. Rama miniji wusue now to my into my cry and one na minu befra. Oh, unto you want me to catch you. What you know, oh, piano. Oh, my good. Say the ground was up back coming anyway. Not down to come to me, oh, bro. All day, when I need one, no. Want me take grandma home. All day, when I need one, no. Want me take grandma away. Let me see me no better work on no. Me no be walking over. Oh, me no be walk. Oh, me no be walking over. You be grandma diachi. Well, all day. Simbi, Metunyum dead, Yadidawo, Udavre, and the Makumemo. Adoma Kumatofia, Yetafrimwa, and Sada, and the Breakfast Show,
the city's biggest conversation.
Oh, do you? Webwe, or Docas, you be swatch from me. I'm Mamma Dream, the Chimshio. Chimchiwana besuso and you may what on a den who are benti back up me uchio I tell you bro all day penani wano want me take grandma home hey I tell you penani wano want me take grandma away. Sit me no better walk on over. Ah, me no better walk on over. Oh, me no better walk. Oh, me no better walk on over. Oh, you better grandma diachi.
7:33 on the Citi Breakfast Show, Thursday the 13th. A few more birthdays coming in. Happy birthday to the Chief Executive of the Chamber for independent power producers. Eli Plim. Kobla Afetogbo. Eli Plim. Afetogbo. Happy birthday to you, bro. Enjoy the day. Also coming in this morning. Happy birthday to Comfort Kwame Jabari. Coming in from Betty Marian Mens to her bestie, Comfort Kwame Jabari. And also to Nigel Ninoy Tete. Nigel Ninoy Tete. Happy birthday to you, coming in from your mother, Rita Ampabing Tete. You share a birthday with Samuel Atamensa. July 13, a very, very special day indeed. And a few more we will be wishing. Happy birthday to my daughter, Annabelle Koleki Teigli. Pentecost Preparatory School, Kofredia. Gracious happy birthday. Grow in the wisdom of the Lord from your from your father. I need to change my glasses. From your father, Francis Homeku, and the entire family, to Annabelle Koleki Teigli. And also to Dr. Harry Kweku Agbanu. Harry Kweku Agbanu, he is from the Department of the Study, or Department for the Study of Religions, University of Ghana. Now, Dr. Harry Agbanu is part of the University of Ghana 1993 year group. You know, I went to a program last week, Sky. The number of prominent Ghanaians who finished university in 1993, you won't believe it.
Thank you.
And they are the first group of graduates born into the democracy. So they were discussing 30 years of democracy. I can mention plenty names. I don't even know. You know some of them already. Dr. Harry K. Agbanu is part of that group as well. Samuel Okran of the Heritage Caravan is part of that group. There's a lady called Amabewa. She's a board chairman of Access Bank. She's part of that group. The two deputy governors of the Bank of Ghana, part of that group. The MTN CEO for, I think, Africa Sub-Saharan, Ebenezer Asante, is part of that group. Justin Amenuvo, the lawyer for the EC, joined the petitions, part of that group. Jean Mensa.
You went there to drink tea?
Jean Mensa. Yeah, Amenuvo. You know that Amenuvo has this eye like you look at you. That's headmaster. Jean Mensa, who's the EC chairperson, is part of that group. Fifi Kwete, who's the general secretary of NDC, part of that group. Kafui Day is part of that group. Koko Anyidoho is part of that group.
Wow.
Where is this guy? Former deputy defense minister, somebody, I forget the name. So many. Look, then everybody in that group is somebody you know. I'm telling you.
Who list?
I am telling you. So
graduates.
Harry Kweku. Look, Professor Peter Kwote, part of that group. Professor Robert Osei, formerly of GIMPA, formerly of ISE, part of that group. Who else is in that group? So many. It's a powerful list. So Harry Kweku Agbanu.
Superstar list.
You're a big man. Happy birthday to you. He's I think he was a UTAG executive. UTAG executive. So enjoy the day. You said something today that intrigued me. So two corrections. The Binduri school is a day school.
Okay.
It's not a boarding school. That's number one. Now, the students said they hadn't been
getting their meal.
Now, so being a day school, my views about the stories have changed a bit.
Okay.
Because they said they were eating only banku and okra soup. And that they are tired. Now, I think that's not a good enough reason to go out. You know what I'm saying? Because, Charlie, it's a very nutritious meal. let's put jokes aside. If it was a boarding school and they were getting 1 meal a day, I can understand why they would close down the school. You're a day school, you eat at home. You go, they give you banku and okra soup. Sky, honestly, when you were in school, were you giving banku and okra soup?
That's the point I was making. It's not a problem.
Some of our hometown, when you go, they give you a work plate and pepper. Yes. We are not saying it's the best, but banku and okra soup is dynamic enough. They can do it with dry fish. They can do it with wele. Next week they can do it with beef. I mean, banku and okra soup is very, very dynamic. You can do a work play. You can do normal. I mean, you can do many things. So even they can do galiba with the okra. So me, I don't think they have a problem. They should go back to school. I mean, I thought it was a boarding school. If it's a day school and they get banku and okra soup every day, they should eat it. They should just vary their breakfast and their supper at home. I know you agree with him, but he won't.
Oh, yeah. Well, yes, you
That's what?
The Binduri school has no business closing down.
Hold on, let me just get the story
yes,
again.
because apparently somebody there said, no, we are day school. But Sky, you eat breakfast in the morning. You go, they give you banku and okra soup hot. Just take it and continue with your studies. So the home they are going, what are they going to do? No, I retract the things I said earlier.
It's a very difficult one. I don't know what. I think we need more. Perhaps maybe on this particular story.
I'm telling you.
I mean, on if again, as you stated, if it is a boarding school, it's problematic, and that was the premise on which we were saying that.
It's a community day school.
Community day.
This person sent me. I think the person is in Minduri. He said, Bernard, please, they are not boarding students. It's a community day school.
Yeah, that's the problem.
What paper was the story in?
It was a story, I think.
Find it for me, because this matter there. Yeah, and don't forget that the school feeding takes advantage of the food in your area.
Yeah.
So if you are in Binduri, maybe there's a lot of okra there. Millet, or I don't know.
The school feeding no longer takes account that. That's what Angel Carbonu has been asking that they revert to.
Okay, which is that what?
The local
so if you are in a predominantly yam growing area, getting access to yam should not be a problem. So why would you come to NAFCO?
To come and collect
yam.
But NAFCO does the non-perishables, and then the school buys the perishables.
So it's the central. They are saying everything has been centralized. So he's saying that.
No, but they've not centralized the perishables. So like if you are buying agbelima to do banku, it's not centralized. I think the central is the gari, the rice, the milk, the tinapa, the sugar. The ones you buy, the tomatoes, I think the cooking oil is also centralized. But tomatoes, okra.
The school buys it themselves.
Yes. So there's a mix. So sometimes when there's a shortage, they try and do a quasi-centralization. Maybe they'll say, like you are in central region, they'll take the food to one school and then you go and collect your bit. But I don't think they've centralized the perishables.
Okay.
Okay. In the meantime, let's take some quick comments that have come in celebrating a number of people this morning. This one says that, can you kindly wish my wife, Beckios, a happy birthday from myself and our kids, Jesua and Erisi. We ask the Lord to keep you for us because you're a good woman. Just the thought of you will put smile on my face. And this one says, Kai, say a little prayer in no,
They want to provoke you. They want to provoke the anointing on your life.
More comments coming in. This one says it's coming in from your husband Boboski. Okay.
So this one from last one Boboski.
Yeah, Boboski.
Okay.
This one says happy birthday, Cement. May Allah bless you, Bernard and Richard. Self-made Gehazi. Okay, that's someone. I don't know. Maybe the name is Gehazi or something. This one says, Very Reverend Father Francis Feen, a priest in the Cape Coast Archdiocese, is celebrating belated happy birthday. May God bless him more abundantly in his ministry. It's coming in from Denchira Chechre. And this one says, good morning, Bernard. We would like to wish Mr. Boniface Kumia a happy birthday. We wish him the best in the coming year. You are such an amazing man. From Joyce Agbosu and the children. And this one says, good morning, Bernard. Please pray with me this day. Today is my birthday. I am freeborn. Uber driver at large. So Bernard, he said you should pray with him.
The Lord will be with him.
Amen. Yes. And this one says, Isaac Ahaji and the entire Ahaji family is today celebrating a special day. Happy birthday to our precious ones, Chairman Noble Ahaji, Madam Rebecca Ahaji, Reverend Jifa Ahaji, Inspector Gideon Ahaji. We love you and appreciate your numerous contributions to humanity and the entire family.
It's a powerful message. Now, another friend of mine says he's doing a project in Binduri as we speak.
Okay.
And the school indeed is a community-day secondary school.
Okay.
So please, go back to school. Go back to school.
They have to.
When the people in this studio were in secondary school, when I was a day student, they were not giving me food.
Okay.
It was the brothers who were eating. So in the morning, I'll eat at home. They will give me money to buy lunch at the canteen. And then in the evening, I'll eat. If for nothing at all, government is giving you free food as a secondary school.
They want variety.
I think that for me, there's no justification.
For the variety.
No. You see, it's a period we are going through. If it was a boarding school, you see, this is
the people in government, they have variety in the food they eat.
Yes, but Sky, let's also admit that, Charlie, for government to give you food once a day for free, it's a big undertaking.
Yeah, but once you have elected to do, the expectation is that you do it well. And we all know that if you know, if you do the card do 10 chairman.
That's what I'm saying. That varied by changing your breakfast and your dinner.
No, but they don't have. If you don't have at home.
No, but the government is giving you free lunch. Oh.
Yeah.
And the free lunch is for a period just banku and okro. It wasn't like maybe rice and gaso. I mean, banku okro soup is dynamic in its making. Just like okra soup has many things. You can use goma, you can use adefechi, you can use. It's not. No, they should go back to school. I think they should go back to school.
Maybe they are not getting the variety they want.
Is it? From what you said earlier, I think we're still waiting for.
Because there are even boarding schools. I remember I was in a boarding school a year and a half ago during one of the crisis, and they said for some time they were not getting maize. And this is like a year and a half ago, and that for a long time the lunch was just gari. Right, so we saw some of the students standing outside during dining, and then when we asked the students, they said, "Oh, for a long time, they've not been getting maize, so they just do galiba, right? And they eat it with different stews. But some of them got tired of it, so they'll go and buy their own food at lunch. But these are borders, okay? So if and borders, it means that breakfast is by the school, supper is by the school, but you're a day student. So okay, if you say you won't go to school, carry your own food from the house and go.
Okay, so let me read.
Because your constitution doesn't say that government should give you food. Well, government has elected that they are going to give you food. And please understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, let me just read the story.
Okay, read the story in its entirety.
The story, there's a portion of it on part of the story on my journal. It says the Binduri Community Day Senior High School in the Upper East region has been shut down following protests by students over lack of food. Now, on Tuesday, July 11, 2023, some agitated students boycotted classes to protest and express their displeasure about the inability of the school's administration to provide them with the one hot meal daily for some time now. Okay. It goes on to say sources within the school show graphic online Gilbert Mauli Agbe that since May 29, 2023, the caterer stationed in the school had not been able to cook for the students, leaving them to their fate. Now, the caterer is said to have abandoned her duty in the school, citing non-payment of arrears owed her by the government. Okay. A development which had virtually made it impossible for her to continue to cook for the students. As a result, some of the students abandoned classes, and they had a reason that they could not go to school to study on an empty stomach. With a total of about 600 students in the school, 200 were regular in school due to the situation.
So since the lunch stopped because the caterer couldn't provide, 1/3 of the students come, 2/3 stop coming.
Yeah, it goes on to say, speaking during the protest against the happenings in the school, some of the students said they were suffering as they had been denied their daily food for more than a month now, saying, what is very worrying is that due to the shortage of food, quote unquote, we have been compelled to eat one kind of food throughout the whole week. Now, one of them said, it is very sad, and I'm quoting, that we are sometimes forced to eat banku and okra stew throughout the whole week. Now, and therefore, called on the Ministry of Education and the government to take immediate steps to address the issue to pave the way for the caterer's return. Now, a first-year female student called on the government to provide them with their school uniforms and other attires since it was long overdue, saying, quote unquote, we also demand the construction of a place of convenience since we can no longer attend to nature's calls in bushes around the school. However, the Binduri District Director of the Ghana Education Service, John Doka Jagri, who visited the school in the course of the protest, said although the protest was intended to register their concerns, it was important for them to calm down as it would be addressed. Subsequently, he asked the students to stay home until the issues are addressed for them to return.
Mhm.
There's a quote here that says, if you are not ready to go back to the classroom to continue with academic work, then
Mhm.
remain home until
Mm.
you are informed
Mm.
to come back to school. I wish to assure you that the directorate will meet with the management of the school and the caterer to resolve the issue to pave the way for the reopening of the school, hopefully on Monday, July 17, 2023.
Okay.
Meanwhile, the final year students are currently in school writing their mock examination
Mhm.
in preparation towards this year's West Africa Seniors Secondary Certificate examination.
So this is a very complete story. The issues are more than so. Actually, the main issue is that they have not been getting the food.
Yeah, so there are a number of things. First, the
Mhm.
caterer who was preparing the
Mhm.
food for them,
Mhm.
government owes her. We all know what has been happening.
So she
People
has
have been
stopped
able-
cooking the food.
So she stopped cooking the food. Now, as a result of that, there appears to be shortage.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what is happening is that they now have to give them one type of food for a whole week, according to what they're saying. So banku and okro, they are having to eat that
Mhm.
for a whole week without any variation. And sometimes it would seem, reading the story, that sometimes they don't get the food. So they are agitating over that. Then there's also a place of convenience which is not available.
Hold on, no. If the caterer hasn't been giving them food since May 29, they couldn't be complaining of eating the same type of food.
I mean,
so they're probably
I
saying
am guessing
they are
buying the food.
Yes.
Mhm.
Because
Buying it from
yeah, because
as
if-
somebody who sells banku and okro
Yeah.
there.
Because the flow of the story, it's not possible to say you are striking because you are not getting food, and at the same time say you are eating only one food. Those are two separate problems. And from the flow of the story in this version you read,
They are buying the food.
they are probably having access to only banku and okro to buy or to eat at home or whatever. Do you understand? Because they are saying the main problem is that they are not even giving them the food. Do you follow my logic? Now, this is the problem we've created. We know that the school feeding helps people go to school because a lot of these rural communities, parents will force kids to farm and sometimes not go to school when planting season is ongoing. So one of the ways the government keeps people in school is by using the food to entice the parents. That look, send your child to school, at least they have food to eat. So you notice that enrollment went up. You can ask Kofi Asare, he's the master of this, because of this. So this is an add-on that we think is good. Do you follow me? So again, if there's, and we know the government is not paying the people. All right. In fact, there's another story today in the Class FM online where Educhum said they will start getting payments today, this week. Let me. So my point is that I still think that deciding not to study is not the solution. Closing down the school doesn't help the student because you see, why could not change the WASI date? The course outline is still the same. The syllabus will not be reduced because of your strike. Do you follow me? When I was in Presec, we knew what the course outline was, and we were always working with syllabus. So there are certain times that the teacher will say, he has finished, and we want to do next term syllabus because we are free. We want to make, because we are preparing for WASI, we are not preparing for just end of term. Now, you are in a deprived school. Binduru is a poor district. You have 600 students. You don't have place of convenience. Government is not providing the caterer. Government must address that. Protest is great. Protest, register your protest. But if you go and sit at home, it means, let's assume you are doing geography. It means that there are many, many things in mapping and surveying that you will not have done before the exam. And WAEC will not change the exam because you are home. And it's not like you are home learning. You hear me? So if I had a brother or a sister in the school, I'll say, no, do your protest, let the people work on it, but go back to school. You get me? To say that you are getting only banku and okro and it's boring, look, we are not endorsing hardship. But Sky, all of us, at some points, education is not just the knowledge. All the things you go through contribute to who you become as a person. All right, so I think the students they've registered their protest. The district director has come to confirm that they are right. They are not going to suspend anybody for striking. Go to school. Because when you, assuming today is what, July 13, let's assume they go back to school in August. It means that they have a shorter time to finish their course. Who suffers? Because 10, 20 years ago, there was no school feeding anyway. When we and I were in school, they didn't give us free food. We still finished. When there people in University of Ghana who went to Binduri school, were they giving food? That doesn't mean that you don't deserve your food, though. But I think that in the interest of academic work and the students themselves. Charlie, eat the banku like that.
You see, but I note your point, but let me also say that look, it is also the case that not everybody in that school would necessarily have come from Binduri.
Okay.
We have seen in the past postings made from other regions to places that are supposed to, or schools that are supposed to be day schools. And citizens have had to move from, say, Volta region to Bunduri to go and study, in which case they need to get accommodation and all of that. We've heard that in the past. Now, while not speaking to specific facts in Bunduri to support that particular argument, it is safe to say that if this indeed happened in the past, it is possible that some of the folks there would have come in from other parts of the country. Now, if that position then is true, then one can proceed and make the argument that the fact that, the provision of food is not as consistent, and that the fact that there is no variation may give some room for legitimate concerns to be raised. Because first of all, if you are there away from your family and perhaps money is not coming in regularly, what it means is you cannot provide even your breakfast, let alone your dinner. So what you then depend on most,
the hot meal.
Yeah, will be the
to balance the day.
Yeah, that's right.
So if that one is not coming,
then there's a problem.
That's what I agree with.
So in the circumstances, I think that there has got to be some further information as to what exactly is happening.
There's an additional information I'm getting, which I want to read. Bernard, in some of the community day schools, students have become boarders because they commute from very far places.
As I was saying.
What happens is that they have 24 classrooms and some have been converted into dormitories.
Okay.
So some students stay on campus as day students. These are poor people from the north who have come to school with nothing. And so they rely on the okra soup, which is stored overnight and used the next day. Some have rented places in town, and so they rely on this food due to the fact that they don't have the means and what is given them is meager. So yes, not going to school is bad, but the school should also do better. Logo Security Senior High School in Upper West Wa East has the same problem. Students cook their own food on campus, and the recipe there, and they reside there as day students. And so the one hot meal is key to their survival.
See, so you get a point. So clearly, it would seem that these guys moved from their respective communities to the school.
Yeah.
In which case, they are removed from the comfort of their parents or maybe people who would have provided for them. Again, these are poor. Some of them are poor anyway. So if the government is not providing that, then there is the dereliction of duty. Because, as I always say, habede, you understand? So if you don't have anything in your belly, you cannot do that. Of course, I appreciate that what a mother has.
It's what you give.
Is what you give. But you see, the government has got to understand that it brought this responsibility upon itself.
I have a story here to help.
We are going to do this.
Now they are
so
hot.
You must do it to the glory of God.
The leadership,
not doing it's not right.
Let me add some meat to your comment. Part of your arrears will be released this week. Education Minister to NAFCO. This story is on Class FM online, and it reads: the leadership of the National Food Supplies Association has met with the Education Minister, Mr. Yao Osei-Duchum, on July 11 at the Ministry of Education to discuss the indebtedness of National Food Buffer Stock Company to the members of the National Food Supplies Association. Exposed person of the association, Kwame Amedume, confirmed this in a statement released to the media dated July 11. According to the Minister of Education, he has released a total amount of 418 million Ghana cedis to the National Food Buffer Stock Company between the periods of 2021, 2022, and 2023. 100 million cedis, 283 million cedis, and 35 million cedis respectively. So those are the three tranches. Now, the story then says it's worth noting that even though the minister says that he has released an amount of 283 million in 2022 to this company for payment, members of the Food Suppliers Association are yet to receive a penny of the said amount. The minister intimated to the executives of the association that in January this year, the amount paid was 35 million, which was the remaining balance of the 2022 arrears owed to the food suppliers. He pledged that the Ministry of Finance is in the process of releasing part of the arrears this week and that government is not in a position to pay the arrears in full. We wish to state that we are not prepared to accept part payment of 2022 arrears, given the fact that individual members have accumulated interest. So, Sky, what is important about this Binduri story, which I think is good we are talking about, is that at the macro level, Minister will make a speech, Bufferstock will make a speech, we will interview the food suppliers. But the real story is what Binduri students are going through, right? And I'm appreciating the version of the story you read, where they're talking about not having a place of convenience. Students have to cook for themselves and learning on an empty stomach. So you're right. If we have decided to give them food,
let's provide it well.
So and that also tells you that the policy announcement versus implementation is not the same thing. So we can announce a policy and make fanfare about it. But now you have a situation where at day school, students depend, because they probably wouldn't have been in school
if we hadn't promised them.
Exactly. And we are not saying it's good that they don't go to school. But now that you've put them in school, it is something.
What is sad about it is, you and I have sat in this studio and spoke to people from the Ministry of Education.
Yeah.
All the time, we got the impression that there was no problem.
Oh, we are the ones who are naysayers.
Always available. And we saw in some cases the ministers or the officials going to see
go to my school, take a picture and say, Bernard, I went to your school, there's food.
So how come we say there is food, students are complaining?
It's the food it's the spiritual food. It's food that you can't see.
It cannot be right.
Never. Let's get into tech and social media trends. And it's 8 o'clock, brought to you by FBN Bank. Sending money to Nigeria has never been this easy, convenient, or exciting. Through the new Pan-African Payment and Settlement System, PAPS, you can send and receive money to and from Nigeria in minutes for business and personal purposes. Visit any FBN branch and with your cash, and your money is next door in no time. You can also send and receive money to and from Liberia and the Gambia. For more information on the PAPS, call 0596921921. Segment is also brought to you by Vodafone. The move promo is here. Receive up to 20% of your money back in your Vodafone cash wallet when you recharge with 5 CDs or more. You can even send credit to a friend and they will receive up to 20% instant cash. So whether you recharge from your preferred short code, your Vodafone cash wallet, you use credit transfer or my Vodafone app, you will still get the 20% of your money back. Vodafone, further together. All right, so Nathan's going to take us through the segment. Nathan.
Well, yeah, Stephen Appiah is trending.
Why?
Now, yesterday, ESPN, Global Sports Portal, they tweeted a picture of the 2006 World Cup logo.
Okay.
And they asked the question, which player does this remind you of?
El Capitano.
So lots of the
El Capitano.
On Ghana Twitter, I had people saying that, Stephen Appiah.
But I also remember Razak Pimpon. The man scored like 200 chances against Czech Republic. Oh my God. Razak Pimpon.
Razak Pimpon.
So you have Stephen Appiah.
Zelda Kpoku produced
Razak Pimpon.
So yeah, Stephen Appiah is trending. So lots of people, just reminding themselves of Appiah's exploits in the 2006 World Cup. Other things that are trending, Hearts of Oak is trending. Now, why is Hearts of Oak trending? Now, FIFA, for those who remember, before the World Cup, FIFA announced that clubs who would have players or clubs that would have players in the World Cup would benefit. Yes, so FIFA has done their computation and they are sharing the money. Now, Hearts of Oak are getting over $500,000 as part of the FIFA club benefits.
Which of our
program.
players went there? Barnier.
Free Barnier was there.
I think it was a substitute goalkeeper or something.
Yes.
First of all, it's getting 219,000.
Is it 219? Okay, 209. Sorry, 219. How many? 219,000. So in all, hold on. Sorry, 219,000 in all. Ghanaian clubs are getting $565,000.
See why we should send more local players.
You see, so Hearts of Oak are getting 219,000. Dreams FC and King Faisal both get $18,250. Asante.
Yeah, because Ishaku Fatal spent time at Dreams FC. No, Steadfast is the one who made the money.
Yes.
But they get a share.
Kotoko get any player?
Yes,
Kotoko
Danlad.
had $200,000 there.
That's of the goalkeeper.
That lad was there. So in our Ghanaian clubs, Steadfast
That's why
FC, like
Kim
you said,
Faisal also gets money because Danlad spent time there.
there. So Ghanaian clubs who had players at the World Cup.
So this is a local content.
Yes, $565,000.
Time Liberty, you should have sent some players.
We don't have any.
They don't have any.
Oh yeah, they're Liberty.
Yeah, you know.
So Stephen Appiah is trending.
Yes,
Appiah is trending.
Yes. Let's do some tech news. And
Yeah.
Chinese-based hackers have gained access to the email accounts of around 25 organizations, including government organizations. That's according to Microsoft.
In which country?
That's in the US. Now, the software giant has not provided details of where the agencies are based, but the suspicions that they're in the US. However, the US Department of Commerce has confirmed to the BBC that Microsoft notified it about the attack. Secretary of Commerce Gina Raimondo was among the individuals impacted by the breach, according to reports. Now, US media reported that the State Department had also been targeted by hackers.
The new war is
the new war is the tech war.
One day, an old lady inherited a huge sum of money. Her family worried about how to break the good news to her. They feared that the sudden good news might give her a heart attack. And so they decided the family doctor who was experienced in delivering such news should be the one to tell her. And when he did, surprisingly, she just smiled. Relieved, he asked, "What are you going to do with all that money?" She replied, "I'm going to give you half." The doctor had a heart attack.
For you, I got your back, I put you first.
People are often surprised when we put them first. At FBN Bank, that's what we do. We put you first. Open an account with us today and enjoy mobile banking, USSD banking, shop and pay with our prepaid Visa cards, MasterCard, and many other services designed with you in mind. FBN Bank, you first.
Hey, you ever buy credits where you get up to 20% of your money back before? Make I tell you about Vodafone's demo promo. See, anytime you recharge a demo, you get up to 20%, whether it be short code or your Vodafone cash wallet, or you don't use credit transfer to your number or someone else. And now you be high tech, so you don't use my Vodafone app or any payment app. However you do, Vodafone go send you up to 20% cash back into your Vodafone cash account. We reload here, but then you enter. Top up your airtime with 5 Ghana cedi or more in Vodafone's demo promotion and receive 20% of your money back straight into your Vodafone cash wallet. Recharge and cash out in the Vodafone demo promotion.
Vodafone, further together.
Join the conversation on the Citi Breakfast Show on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag CitiCBS.
I didn't need to bomb. I think he's going, he crazy. I tell that man that is super Audi. I pay consent, now all you, the shay. Let's do come on Audi. Ubeti, hey, Araba, and Radia, me home, Papa. Say I'm a friend. Dada, go come back on the Mr. Oya Wildo. Or by if you're the Jack man, ya grow. Hey, me say, me one floor. What they pass ya, just sign and it's what in the tent. Araba so cop, talk, belle. What did your home command the cop? The marketing car, and the cop. Tiasumi and Quad, why?
Time check, 8 minutes past 8. A few more happy birthday greetings. Kindly wish my daughter, Swomo Na Asuo Amafio, a glorious happy birthday. May she be guided by the Lord. This is coming from your father, Rich Stani Amafio to his daughter Swomo Na Asuo Amafio. Happy birthday to it's a long message. Our hearts are filled with joy and thanksgiving for our daughter as she steps into the first floor of her life. Frida, may you grow to become God's handmaid, and may every little step take you to greatness. From your parents Augustus, Claudia, your siblings Giorgio and Alexandra, your grandparents, and we love you so much. Happy birthday to the chairman of Oswald Investments, Humphrey Awukete Williams. From your darling wife, from your children and staff, wishing you a big happy birthday. Yeah.
Oswald.
Say he's a big man.
Chief Oswald.
Yeah, man.
No, Charlie, you be main man.
It's today's birthday.
No, you be big man, bro.
He's
Today's birthday.
He's a big man.
Which Oswald?
The contractor.
Today's his birthday.
Is Charlie and Samens are enjoying.
Happy birthday, Oswald.
Don't come and spoil it with some road matter.
So I can't fix it.
No,
happy birthday.
Happy birthday. By the way, the road that you did at Command.
Are you the one to tell me how to wish him happy birthday?
When you turn your head, I know. By the way, the road.
Oswald, happy birthday from residents of Ablekuma West, who are waiting for you to fix the worry you have created on the Western Link.
Moko birthday.
As you celebrate your birthday, eat the cake.
Moko birthday.
Think about the worry you have created there and fix it.
You didn't try. You didn't try. You can do this tomorrow. You can do this on Saturday. You can do this on Sunday.
But
on somebody's birthday.
My shocks will not wait for his birthday.
Oh, please. Couple of quick announcements for you. Republic Bank says keep winning in the promo that keeps giving. Make all your payments with the 4 fantastic credit cards: Classic, Adishi, Infinite, or Republic Visa Business Credit Cards. Enjoy interest holidays, cashback rewards, global concierge services, and access to over 1 million ATMs worldwide, while you stand a chance to win a 2-day staycation at Aqua Safari in the Tap to Pay credit card promo reloaded. Just tap to pay. Live the soft life. We've got you. Sukasa's seasonal affordable housing offers include a 3-bedroom unit with an outhouse starting at 97,000 USD or its CD equivalent, and its 4-bedroom unit with an outhouse starting at 195,000 USD or its prevalent CD equivalent at East Legon Hills and Ai Mensa with convenient payment options. Our office is on the Lagos Avenue, East Legon. Call 0302960865. Guys, so when you come into your first money, when you do that case, and then the money drop, then you go to Sukasa and you just say, Charlie, this is my deposit.
I know, right?
So please put this number on your phone. I can see money coming to you.
Amen.
055 369 7886. Just put it and write Sukasa.
Sukasa.
So the first house, and Casa in Spanish is house. Su, I don't know what it means, but Su
Your
is,
house.
Your house, Sukasa. All right. So you can also email info@sukasa.com.gh. Sukasa, building on trust.
Mikasa, Sukasa.
Mikasa is my house. Sukasa. What about our house?
No. So in this case, it will be Nuestra Casa.
Nuestra Casa. Technology is making higher productivity very possible through relevant training. Ghanaian enterprises will have the opportunity to enhance their skills of their workforce and be in a better position to compete. Now, the GOG, through the Commission for Technical and Vocational Education, TVET, CTVET, will launch the Ghana Skills Development Fund with 700 businesses across various sectors being able to access grants towards upgrading the skills of their workforce. The theme for the launch is Empowering Dreams, Building Wealth, Unleashing the Power of Skills through TVET Financing. It's on the 17th of July, 10 a.m. UPS Auditorium. Keynote speaker, Honorable Dr. Yao Osei Educhum, Minister for Education. Now, the Ghana Skills Development Fund is funded by the GOG with a loan from the World Bank and the Commission for Technical, Vocational Education and Training, CTVET, as implementing agency under the Ministry of Education. All right.
Well, the Ghana Revenue Authority is reminding all withholding tax agents, including VAT withholding agents appointed by the Commissioner General, that withholding taxes need to be paid on the 15th of every month. So meaning that on the 15th of July, withholding taxes for June 2023 need to be paid. You can visit taxpayersportal.com And also to know that in line with the GRA's cashless policy, both check and cash payments should be made at any of the 23 designated banks, the Ghana.gov platform, or via the USSD code *222#. You can send an email info@gra.gov.gh or send a WhatsApp message to 0552 990 000 0200 631 664. Now, in life, when you find something that's very good, you hold on to it. Bell Pack tissue is one of the best things in life. Bell Pack has cereals that are soft but not weak, strong but not hard, just perfect. And for Bell Pack kitchen tissue, it cleans in one wipe. One Bell Pack lasts you long and saves you money. If you want to be a distributor, call 0551 144 400. Bell Pack is another quality product from Belacqua. Now, if you are hungry but you know that the meal will not show up anytime soon, just get Royal King Cracker. They are great stuff, and they have more crackers in each pack, so you can choke the hunger just a little longer. Royal King Cracker, take choke your hunger.
All right, let's get a few of your comments. A few quick comments on the show this morning.
All right, this one says, in these schools where learning is taking place, can there be a program to teach all students to farm and grow their own food? That's a question that's coming in.
Yeah.
Jones Adoboinla says, even though eating banku and okra every day is not bad, the question is, in what form is the soup? Mind you, okra could be prepared in different form and taste.
Okay.
Okay. This one says, please stop that. Ask yourself what they are eating now that they are not in school. Okay, Frank in Dakuman seems to be disagreeing with you. Mike in the gun says, I think the students are saying that the food isn't coming at all, hasn't been around in the last month. That's
what it was.
My understanding is that the time they were eating, it was one meal throughout the week, but currently there is nothing.
Yes. That was corrected in the versions Kai read. In the original version, the impression I got was that they were
eating banku.
They were saying they were going to go to school because of banku and okro, but it's actually corrected in the versions Kai read.
Okay.
No, there was one about some Klagon issue. Let's just read those quickly.
All right, this one says, as we're talking about roads, remember the Klagons or Shaiman Road. It's very terrible when you are using the tunnel. Please let your investigative group visit the place and you understand the issue. Okay.
All right, so those are some comments coming in. Okay, the other issue is I actually think this issue is been thoroughly looked at, but I think the sort of the seminality of it in the sense of Supreme Court, Parliament, and sort of getting Parliament to go back and do what is right and all of that has come up. We are told, I think one of the MPs yesterday said that they're allowing Narcotics Control Commission to give permits for the cultivation of specific types of cannabis for medicinal and industrial purposes could be a game changer. I'm not sure if we have enough information to determine this, but yesterday one of the MPs claimed that had we passed this law earlier, we could have had $3 billion. I'm not sure where they got those numbers from. $3 billion is a lot of money because that's what the MS is giving you for 3 years. So, I don't know, Godfred, you said you know a bit more about this industry. Sky too seems to know a lot about this. Me, I don't know anything about the industry. So, is it that lucrative that we could have gotten $3 billion by July if we had done this earlier?
Well, I mean, in that case, we'd have to be speaking to the likes of Nanajiman, who are very well, invested or vested, if you like, in this particular industry. They have been leading the advocacy for a change in the law. And my understanding is that when the law was first passed by Parliament, a number of people attempted to explore the space. And some investments have been made in that regard. And the change by the Supreme Court in the law must have caused some injury to these people. So government sought to cure the mischief by reason of reintroduction of the law, and then also to make some tax revenue out of what investments have been made and the returns that will come on those. But I think we have to make some admissions that there are different grades of bequia or weed or marijuana.
Cannabis.
Yeah, cannabis. And when properly grown within a lawful environment, and when these grades are lawfully harnessed, their potential is truly lawfully harnessed, the potential to be a game changer in terms of impacting the poverty situation in a very positive way, as to reduce poverty, as to economically empower people, as to ensure that people become, important contributors to the growth of the economy.
Yeah. What I wanted to ask you was, the Narcotics Control Commission is going to give permits for people to cultivate cannabis for medicinal and industrial purposes. Is this domestic, domestic medicinal, or for export purpose? Do we know?
The law doesn't detail whether there will be use of the same here, as in the use of the
but it says for medicine and industrial. So my question is, do we have industries here that need it? Do you have medical?
Certainly.
We do?
Certainly. The hair industry.
Hearing the minister yesterday, I think it was a deputy minister, I guess. Yes. The suggestion is that the immediate effort is to take advantage of the
export
ECOWAS,
market.
Yeah, the export market within ECOWAS, and then explore opportunities elsewhere. So it would seem that there are industries here in West Africa which use these, grades of marijuana for industrial and medicinal purpose. And to the extent that they would offtake, we as a country will earn revenue. When we earn, the people who are in the production chain, the people on the farms, the people who invest their money in equipment to ensure that production is done in a way as to meet the international standards or the demands of the market, they will also make some money. And then the country as a result will also make some money.
Let's hear the speaker as he announced yesterday the passage of the bill.
Commission Amendment Bill 2023 being now read the third time. Minister for Interior.
Right Honorable Speaker, I move that the Narcotics Control Commission Amendment Bill 2023 be now read the third time.
The question is that those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The motion is carried.
An act to amend the Narcotics Control Commission Act 2022 Act 1019 to insert Section 43 to empower the minister to grant a license for the cultivation of cannabis, which has not more than 0.3% THC content on dry weight basis for industrial purposes, for obtaining fiber or seed, or for medicinal purposes.
Honorable members, the Narcotics Control Commission Amendment Bill 2023 is deemed read the third time and passed.
So it's been passed. When we come back, we'll try and get some full discussions on what this actually means for the industry, and then later on we'll talk about some other matters. Stay with us.
Kickstart your day the safe and right way with a freshly brewed cup of piping hot coffee from Shell Bakery or Vida E Cafe. Reconnect and catch up with friends and unwind over cheesy burger goodness during your lunch break at Burger King. Relax this evening with drinks and meals at Honeysuckle and Starbites.
Relax and enjoy the perfect weekend plan filled with fun, food, and family at KFC, Burger King, or Starbites.
Refuel your energy at Shell and let your adventure drive you on this road trip.
Take a break at any of our Shell stations and enjoy any of these great offers from our partner restaurants. Shell, go well.
Home is where your heart is, so comfort is key. Find beds, bed sheets, sofas, cushions, fluffy rugs, and anything else you need to get cozy so it feels like home. Visit the Orca Deco Superstore on Spinkters Road today.
Arise, stand the youth for your country.
management of the National Service Scheme has begun processing prospective service personnel for deployment for the 2023-2024 service year. This year's deployment is private sector driven. Private institutions are therefore encouraged to submit more requests for service personnel. Metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies, ministries, departments, and agencies, and all those interested in hosting service personnel in the 2023-2024 service year are also encouraged to put in formal requests to the Secretariat. The request must be submitted on official letterhead with official addresses, email, phone numbers, and location of the organizations. User agencies are to indicate the number of personnel required and specify the desired academic or professional qualifications. Agencies with special needs are advised to contact the NSS Secretariat for discussions. All requests must reach the National Service Secretariat before Friday, August 11, 2023. National Service, service to the nation.
Kwesi, it's time to help the kids with their math.
Oh, Angie, I have to quickly rush to Zenith Bank before they close. You know someone stole my card, and I have to go block it.
Kwesi, you are going to sit in all that traffic. When there's an enhanced Z Mobile Ghana app, just download the app and instantly chat with Zenith Bank to have your card blocked right from here.
Oh, really? Okay. I also have to schedule the bill payment. I'll be right back.
Hey, Kwesi, you are not going anywhere. With the enhanced Z Mobile Ghana app, you can schedule payment as well.
Hey, Z Mobile here, Z Mobile there, Z Mobile everywhere. Then let me download it there. Yeah, Nana, come here for studies.
Live life in the easy lane with the enhanced Z Mobile Ghana app. Do more transactions on the go. Buy data, change PIN, set travel notifications, initiate cash withdrawals at any Zenith Bank ATM without a card. You can even log in with your fingerprint or your face. Download the Z Mobile Ghana app from the App Store or Play Store today. Z Mobile, easy does it. Zenith Bank, in your best interest.
Join the conversation on the Citi Breakfast Show on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag CitiCBS.
So it's 8:25. We're back on the grind. The story is clear. The Narcotics Control Act has been passed. So it's an amendment, 2023, bringing significant changes to the cultivation of cannabis for industrial and medicinal purposes. We are told there's a lot of money to be made in there. I'm not sure I understand the industry that much. You've been following this a bit more. I've heard you discuss it with Sky. And you think it's a positive story, but with a caveat. What is the caveat?
Yeah, no, for me, I think that we will require a lot more collaboration between the health profession and industry on this, because it is for medicinal and industrial, right? So a certain kind of direction, it means the Ministry of Health might also end up having to have a say, or the Ghana Medical Association, determining what it can be used for, because recreational use is still prohibited, but medicinally, some doctors.
The funny thing is, that's not the recreational process is medicine.
Yes, prescribe it because as other things. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm not an expert, so they will also need to have conversations around this. Okay, and then of course the industrial use, the textiles, fiber. It does a lot.
I heard you say last week that every country does it differently.
Yes.
And you were saying that there are all those countries that legalize it, they are new ones. So there is no template.
Yes, so we need to figure it out for ourselves.
So in our case, what are we what
I
should
think
we think about?
The people behind the law would know what they were pushing, particularly for industry, because like I said, so you're talking about fiber, you're talking about textiles, you're talking about the oil, as a foodstuff, you're talking about some people have done hemp for paper, all kinds of things. So there are a lot of things that can be done. We don't know the companies yet. But my concern has to do with the evidence that has also come from our region from the countries that have done it here. So we're looking at Lesotho and we are looking at South Africa, where, and I express this concern, where once the licensing regime passes through, the growers do not benefit. So we are talking about a $3 billion
for Ghana.
But the $3 billion, we'll go and check the growers are not making anything. Because most of the time, the licenses as given out by the minister now, that once he gets the power, once this is assented to by the president, what would be the price of it, for instance? Would it be prohibitive? Because if somebody has been growing this plant for maybe 30 or 40 years illegally, and now there's a path for him, and he goes, and they say, oh, you put everything together, he has to pay maybe $3,000 or $4,000. The process is cumbersome, which is what we see in our mining sector, which has led to the popularity of galamsey, especially for the locals. Well, that is what they tell you. That one, they cannot afford the licenses. Two, the waiting time is too long for them.
So we use the law to exclude the people who are on the ground.
On the ground.
And inevitably it creates
problems.
galamsey.
So they should make sure that the licenses as they are going to be given out. Because
so
most
this
of
is the NACOC you are talking about now?
Yes, the NACOC and the Minister of Interior, who has the power once this is done. Okay, to make sure that the framework for this is done in such a way that the growers do not struggle.
But the question is that the growers are already doing an illegality.
Yes.
So I can be technical and say, as far as the law is concerned, there's no grower yet.
Yes.
So anybody who calls himself a grower is doing an illegal thing.
Certainly.
So until the minister and the NACOC come up with the modalities for choosing a grower, the so-called alleged growers are unknown to the law.
Yes.
So there's no interest to be protected. If I want to be very brutal with the law, I get you when you are saying there are people on the ground who locally know how to grow this thing.
Yes.
All right. Now, do we have to purge them of the crime of growing it prior to the fact that it was not legal at the time, or what? You know what I'm saying? Number two, does the law need to then come up with some specific guidelines? So usually when Parliament passes a law,
there are regulations.
So the question is that the regulations, are they also ready? Or will Parliament now pass the regulations?
So the minister would then have to put the regulations together if there is actually need for one, and then submit it to Cabinet. Cabinet will review it as appropriate, and whatever view they take of it, they subsequently send it to
in this case, you are not sure if there are regulations yet.
Yeah, no. Presently, the law was just passed, so there can't be regulations.
So typically, the law is passed. Then, if it's necessary, regulations are then prescribed, which that have also to be passed.
Yeah, that's right.
So my concern before you do your interview, is just that. Let us not create a situation, because from where we sit, we are also aware people already were holding licenses.
Okay.
You see, before the Supreme Court ruling thing.
Oh, people were poised to take
advantage of it.
Okay.
We do not want to, in 5 or 3 years, be making reference to how lucrative the industry is, and the small grower is not part of the conversation.
Let me talk to Nana Jiman, Nana Kwekwa Jiman, an old friend of ours, who is from the Hempa Association of Ghana. He's the president. How significant is this development that took place in Parliament yesterday? How important is this industry? Minister was talking about $3 billion. And what are the possibilities now that this law has been passed? Nana, thanks for joining us. Good morning.
Thank you. Is that Bernard?
The one and only.
Yes, Bernard, my brother. How be?
It's been a long time. Good to have you.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So the Parliament of Ghana has now passed a law which allows the Narcotics Control Commission to give licenses for the cultivation of specific types of cannabis for medicinal and industrial purpose. From the perspective of the association of which you are president, how welcome is this news?
I think it's very welcoming, Bernard. I think it's very, very welcoming. It's taken time. This is like the fourth year of pushing everything officially from our offices here in East Legon, but we've been going on before that. I think it opens up the way, it paves the way for a new industry to be established, a new cannabis industry to be established. But it's important that everybody understands the type of cannabis we're going to cultivate, because previously people keep associating the industrial cannabis with recreational cannabis, and that's not actually the case. There is no cannabis that is involved that is to do with smoking. There's nothing like that at all. It's all industrial, and so what I think how we can benefit is that, first of all, in terms of the economy, we hardly generate any internal revenue. We have, 175 state-owned enterprises, and can you believe it? They only contribute 5% to our GDP. Well, that's terrible. It's terrible. I wonder what we're doing with those businesses, because that's what they are. They're businesses. But here we have the opportunity of employing tens of thousands of people in direct employment, and equally the same amount in indirect employment, not only on the farm, but in terms of adding value. And adding value is key, because it's important for everyone to understand that industrial cannabis can produce hempcrete, which is something we can use to build the offices you are in at the moment. In fact, everything plastic can be made out of industrial cannabis. Because this issue of the perennial floodings, because we throw our plastic waste into the open gutters, it can be a thing of the past, because the plastic bags, sachet water bags, and all those things, and the bottles are biodegradable. So after 60 or so days, if we still continue with the bad habit of throwing things in the gutter, those plastics will biodegrade. In terms of the environment, we have land that have been poisoned with mercury and the likes because of the galamsey effort that is going on that we can't put a stop to. And those lands, when you cultivate industrial hemp on those lands, you can eventually reclaim those lands so that the farmers can return to those lands and cultivate high-value crop. And the same is true of our water bodies. We've got lots of water bodies that are also contaminated, and a combination of dredging and some chemicals have to be used as well. But essentially, the cultivation of industrial cannabis on the banks of those water bodies, and also on the bed of those water bodies, will also absorb all the toxins and clean up the water, so that water can be free for domestic.
So Nana, you're saying that apart from the commercial benefits, there are even industrial external benefits, like you're describing, the issue of
absolutely
cleansing. The question I have for you is that when I heard the minister and the portions of the bill I've seen, they are talking about cannabis, which is not more than 0.3% THC, something they call tetrahydro
cannabidiol. Cannabidiol.
Is that something that is so? Is it something that a non-scientist can know? How will we know whether the cannabis that this person is growing is this type? So
okay,
yeah, that's what I'm asking.
No, that's a great question. Well, first of all, there is no industrial cannabis in Ghana at the moment. The cannabis that is grown is purely for recreational use, and the tetrahydrocannabidiol content within that cannabis is up to 25%, and that is the compound that gets you high, so they say. Now, the THC content within industrial cannabis is 0.3, so you can see that's negligible. Now, there's a distinction between both plants, because the industrial cannabis grows to about 16 feet tall and is slim, very slim in nature. It's the core, the stalk we're going to use. And also it produces seeds. You can get the hemp seeds from there to make hemp oil. It's also a superfood. The hemp seeds are a superfood. You can eat that. It's got omega-3, omega-6 fatty acids, very good for the body. Now, the recreational cannabis grows about 6 feet tall and is rather bushy. It grows outwards and it produces a lot of buds. And it's these buds that are dried and then smoked. So you can easily tell industrial cannabis from recreational cannabis, because one is 16 feet tall and the other only goes to 6 feet. But essentially, to bring industrial cannabis into the country, you have to bring them in with the seeds, and the seeds have to be certified. They have to be certified 0.3 THC and or less, and that is where it starts from, the cultivation of the seeds. So I hope that deals with that matter.
Yeah, but that does. But my concern is that you have, usually when you read the newspapers, people in parts of the country growing cannabis, the police goes to arrest them. And I'm sure, or I was hoping that these people could be initial beneficiaries of this. But you've just dampened my excitement because you're telling me we don't even have industrial caliber cannabis in Ghana. And therefore, all these guys who've been even growing it, trying to make a living by selling it for recreational purposes, they still don't benefit at all from this law. It means that we need money to go and bring in the seeds. I mean, so...
Well, we will bring in the seeds. That's why I'm here. That's why we've established the Empire Association of Ghana. That's why we've established Empire Agri Ghana Limited, of which I'm the CEO. We will bring in the seeds. And farmers out there who cultivate illegally have already been in contact with us. We know where all the farms are, to be perfectly honest with you. We know where the farms are. And these farmers know us. We've been to their farms, we've sat down and we've met with them. And we have a registration process whereby these farmers can register with us, and we will prepare them so that they can apply for a license. We get their company registered for them. We send them to the bank account that we bank with, which is Access Bank, so they can open a company account. We issue them with an off-takers agreement. We do their business plan for them, and we also prepare the application that they will need to apply for the license. So essentially, whilst they won't be able to cultivate illegally anymore, they will be able to benefit by participating in the legal cultivation of industrial cannabis.
But the land that you need to grow industrial cannabis and the horticulture of managing industrial cannabis, is it the same as that for the recreational? Because you already told me that the THC for the recreational is 25%. So these are like two different products. So even if I have a cannabis farm in some bush and you give me the seeds, what's the guarantee that I even know how to cultivate this new one? What's the guarantee that the land I have can even grow it properly? And how can I even benefit from this value chain? Because again, previously, I knew people who were going to buy it from me illegally and then I'll get some money directly. Now, I probably need to get an export license to export it to some place. So it's a different business. So there's really no relationship between the recreational guys and this new industry, is there?
Yes, there is. There is. Because they are experts. You know, when you have people who are cultivating recreational cannabis under such stringent rules and regulations, basically cultivating illegally, and they're producing very good cannabis, I've got to tell you, because Ghana's recreational cannabis is ranked worldwide, let me tell you. People from near and far come to Ghana for recreational cannabis. So these farmers, we can't do without them. We can't do without them because they're doing very well cultivating illegally. And the work and the time, the effort that they put in to ensure that they produce something of world standard is no small feat. But it's less. The time, attention, etc. is much less when it comes to industrial hemp. Much less. Because industrial hemp doesn't take up so much water. You don't need to be around your plant like that every day. Industrial hemp kills weeds. So there's no weeding and all this kind of stuff that you need to do. And in terms of them benefiting, we signed an off-takers agreement in 2019, and we offer a version of that off-takers agreement to everybody who registers with Empire Agri Ghana Limited. So it's not as difficult as you may presume. And I'll say this to you, that, you know, one of the interesting challenges that are going to come up is because when you cultivate industrial hemp, recreational cannabis cannot be cultivated within a 50-mile radius, or else the industrial cannabis will cross-pollinate the recreational cannabis and render it useless. It won't have that high THC level that I've made mention of before. It will be reduced to nothing. And so, you know, all those farmers who are growing illegal at the moment eventually will see that they need to come this way. Because unless they have greenhouses and unless they grow indoors, recreational cannabis is not going to survive.
Well, let me flip the question, and thanks for your patience. So here you are in Ghana with a competitive advantage in growing recreational cannabis of 25% THC. And then you pass a law to allow NACOC to grow a cannabis that you don't even have, that you have to import the seed. My question is, wouldn't it have been better to continue growing the one you grow and find a way of working with it? Because you're talking about, there are scientific processes you can use, right? And it's for medicinal and industrial. So isn't it better to grow the cannabis we have, which is strong, and then once you export it, the buyer can decide how to treat it to use it, to THCize it, instead of rather flipping the whole thing to say, let's pass a law to grow a certain cannabis that the seeds for which you have to import. I mean, I feel like that's a longer route to salvation. Don't you think so?
No, I don't share that at all. I think you're probably playing devil's advocate. To be honest with you, what you're raising is of no concern. Because look, you are going to be the same person. You and Richard Sky and the rest of you are going to sit on the morning show and say, "Oh, they're growing weed, and now they're going to abuse it. Everybody's going to be there smoking here, smoking there, smoking." You are the same people who are going to be saying that. And there's a reason why we've gone down this road in industrial cannabis, and it's because the vast majority of Ghanaians have a phobia about recreational cannabis. We say that people develop psychosis because they smoke, which is not true. We call it Bonsum Tower, which is not true, because this is a plant that's been put there by the Almighty, and we have the audacity to describe it as like the devil's plant. I mean, how dare us? And now you're asking, wouldn't it be better to grow that? Meanwhile, you yourself would not agree.
No. The reason I asked the question was for two reasons. From an economic point of view, you promote what you have a competitive advantage on, right? So if you're going to make a law to allow for the growth of something, then you should have the advantage over others. And we already grow it here. Now, my challenge is that we're an import-dependent country, right? So if you're going to have to import the seed to start the process, then that for me, in a way, unless of course the industries that are going to use it are already here, so that once you import the seed and you grow it, there's a direct demand for because I mean, why will you import a seed, grow something, and then export it again? So what's the point?
I'll tell you why we'll do that, because we don't have the money. We don't have the money, but we will earn the money from exporting it initially, before we then turn around to add value, to make hempcrete, to produce hemp wood, to produce hemp charcoal, to make everything plastic out of it, to go into the textile market as well, to produce hemp water, to produce cosmetics, shampoo, toothpaste, mouthwash, body lotion. We don't have the money immediately to invest in this. So first and foremost, we must export, because that's going to generate the foreign exchange that we need as well, which is another bonus, because foreign exchange is going to come into the country. Now, in terms of getting the seeds in, that's a one-off, because there are companies here that can grow to produce seeds. So once we get the first batch of seeds, we can now start growing just to produce seeds. So it's not something whereby we're going to be dependent on bringing in seeds all the time. No, that will not be the case. Once we bring it in once, that will be it.
Wonderful. So I get your point. The point is that because we already grow it and we've grown it under stringent conditions, when we get the seeds and we start growing the industrial, we will do it better. The seeds will cross-pollinate what we already have. So eventually, we'll have more of the industrial type, and the expertise in growing hemp will still be an advantage for Ghana. We'll become part of the global supply chain and make a lot of money from this. So your point is that it's just a matter of time. We will benefit from this industry.
Yeah, big time. It's got to be managed well, and it's got to be managed by us. It can't be managed by government, with all due respect. They've got 175 businesses that they run, state-owned enterprises is doing nothing.
Which was my next question, actually. So now that the bill has been passed, do we know NACOC's intention? Because in some cases, when a bill is passed, they go ahead and now bring up regulations that then sort of spell out how the regime will be managed. Do you know how NACOC intends to go about the licensing, and whether they will create a government agency to manage it as you think is wrong, or they would use you or other people to do this?
Well, I would hope that they would use us, because we have the knowledge about it, and quite frankly, they don't. They're learning. They normally move around with a hammer. So every problem they see is a nail. And that's how they've been dealing with things. But it's not the same for us. We are the experts, to be quite honest with you, to be blunt and honest with you. We are the experts. We are the one who's been trying to educate the general population about industrial cannabis and recreational cannabis, and trying to help them to understand the distinct difference between the two. I mean, look, when Citi FM covers things like this, even this week, you talk about what Parliament is doing, and then the pictures you put up there don't reflect what Parliament is doing. You put pictures of marijuana, you put pictures of joints, people smoking, and that's not what Parliament has been debating. That's not what this bill is all about. So we have been trying to educate you people in the media, educate the general public, the religious bodies, etc., about the distinct differences. And so that we will go down this road of recreational cannabis, because there's much more money to be made from the use of recreational cannabis than industrial cannabis.
Just a question. The look of the leaf or the plant for recreational versus industrial, is it not the same? Because what I've seen on our website,
it's almost the same.
Yeah, so what I see is the story will typically show the herb, but I mean, I don't recall putting a joint or somebody smoking on the story.
Yeah, it's there. You go on your website.
Yeah, well, fine. Maybe you have a pet peeve you want to correct today. That's your problem. What I'm saying is that what I know is that for the untrained eye, you can't differentiate between recreational cannabis and industrial cannabis. You need an expert to even tell this, right?
Well, that's why we're going to train our farmers, and that's why we're going to assist NACOC as well, because yes, their eyes are untrained.
But does NACOC, just a question, does NACOC know you in terms of the association that you are, and have you been part of the work in Parliament, the advocacy?
Absolutely, I've been a part of HAG has been a part of the Parliamentary Select Committee of Interior and Defence.
Oh, nice.
We've been involved. Yes, we've been involved all the way.
So when the minister says there's $3 billion that could have been made had the Supreme Court not sort of overturned what they did earlier, he's saying that this year we would have earned $3 billion. Is that number correct?
Yes, of course. It could even be more. It could even be more, because you've got to remember that the original bill was passed in March 2020. And we are now July 2023. That's 3 years. The president assented to it on the 11th of May 2020. And we assisted the Narcotics Control Commission and the Ministry of Agriculture and Ministry of Interior and Defense by drafting the legislative instrument and submitting it to them in the same year. And I don't know what happened, but we waited like almost 3 years for the LI. Still, the LI hasn't come out, but I know it's done.
Now that the media has gotten involved more positively, hopefully it will. I just had a final question before I let Godfrey ask you one more question. So the law said that the NACOC can now permit cultivation of specific types of cannabis for industrial and medicinal. You've explained to me the industrial. Just to ask, is medicinal cannabis different than what you've described, or is the same?
No, from the industrial hemp, you can also produce medicinal cannabis, and some of the ailments that it deals with: high blood pressure, insomnia, autism, epilepsy, PSTD, AHD, so many different things. It has anti-inflammatory properties. So when we make water, for example, I'll give you a classic. When our footballers go out there in training, we can actually produce water that has anti-inflammatory properties because it's made from industrial cannabis. And when they drink it, say they've got a swollen ankle or swollen muscle tissue, the anti-inflammatory properties of this water will reduce the swelling. So honestly, the benefits of this herb are so magnificent, it's untrue. Currently, we have medicinal cannabis that is treating high blood pressure and hypertension. I myself take a cannabis drops that deals with glaucoma, and I take it every morning. So, there's so many things that this can deal with medicinally as well. It's an all-rounder. Trust me, it's an all-rounder.
There's something you said that I wanted you to develop when you spoke about the cross-pollination. Are you suggesting that if we bring in the seeds for the industrial and we cross-pollinate with the existing recreational, eventually our recreational cannabis would assume the form of the industrial cannabis because that is bigger and stronger?
Absolutely. It will render it useless. And this is why I've been saying to NARCOC and I've been saying to the religious leaders, no one can abuse the law by saying they're going to cultivate recreational cannabis in the midst of industrial cannabis. It just will not work. It won't work. And that's why I say that those who are cultivating illegally, if they don't join this bandwagon, they can decide to erect a greenhouse or grow indoors. That way, they can still cultivate recreational cannabis. But anything within a 50-mile radius, trust me, Bernard, it won't stand the test of time.
Has CSIR or any of the research agencies been involved in this discussion with you? Do you know if they've published anything on this?
No, they haven't. They haven't. None of the laboratories, CISR, none of them have been involved so far. But that we are going to contact them so that we have a round-table discussion, especially CISR, because they deal with herbal remedies. And I've been there, but they're not quite up to speed. I've got to be honest with you. And the laboratories, they're not quite up to speed. They've not been studying it. Even our doctors don't know how to write a prescription for medicinal cannabis. I mean, it's a shame because in the rest of the world, it's happening. And I'll tell you this as well. We have Beyond the Return. And every year we welcome all these different diasporans to come home. We tell them, come home, etc., etc. Many of them come home with medicinal products. And I've been saying to government, we must clear a way for them. We can't just be arresting them at the airport because many of them are going to come with recreational cannabis because it's good for them to smoke. It's been recommended by their doctor, yes, smoke a spliff a day. Unbelievable, but true. And some of them would come with oils and creams and different things.
But obviously with lower THC than the one they will find here.
No, not necessarily. No, not at all. Not at all.
But which goes back to my question. If people are getting prescription to use cannabis medicinally, and we are passing a law that is basically saying that the THC that we are allowing is 0.3, when in Ghana, the one we grow goes up to 25%. That's just back to my question, right? Why don't you... Because the 25...
we can't, bro, because we're at kindergarten level. We're just starting. We're just beginning to understand what it is we're dealing with. You've got to understand that there's a huge lobby, and that's the religious groups, the Christian lobby. They're massive. They form 80% of the electorate. None of the politicians want to get on the bad side of them because you're talking about votes. So it's something that we have to take time to educate each and every one so that they understand exactly what would go on. Because look, everyone's concerned about smoking, but let me tell you how they regulate it abroad. You can only buy recreational cannabis from dispensaries. That's the only place you can buy recreational cannabis from. And that would have to be the similar system that we work here. And I advocate that, look, if I had a dispensary, for example, if you bought your recreational cannabis from somebody off the street, I would urge you to come into my dispensary where I would test it. Because those people who grow recreational cannabis, they don't test the soil. Some of them use pesticides, which are dangerous when you start ingesting through smoke. Nobody knows what goes on. So I would encourage those people to come in where we would test to ensure that their cannabis is safe. If it is not safe, and we establish that it is not safe, and we tell them it is not safe, they're hardly unlikely to go back and purchase cannabis from the same people again. They would rather come to our dispensary and purchase good cannabis, which is not going to harm them. You see, so there's ways that we can regulate this, but honestly, Bernard, we're not at that stage yet.
But at least we've made progress with the fact that it was a bipartisan approach. I didn't see any argument. So obviously, some of the work you guys have done, we are seeing the benefits. So it's progress. You're right. So it's gradual. Godfred has a final question.
No, mine is a concern that you seem to have addressed. You are straddling that border between the growers and the licensing. So listening to you, basically the growers would have to go through. My question is, based on the experiences of other places who have gone through this, so I'm citing Lesotho, and you obviously know your business on this one, where growers have not benefited. It's the new international companies who have come in, who have set it up, who have benefited.
Yeah.
What are the guarantees? Because I did not hear you being very clear on the licensing, of course, because it's new, but once you said you've been part of the conversation for a while, perhaps you could share a bit about how the licensing regime does not exclude the growers, because it looks like then they have to rather go through the channels, and you've described them as the experts here. So how are the experts then going to be proper beneficiaries? They might not be investing as much as the international companies, but if there's an opportunity, how do you protect them?
Yeah, how we protect them is that enshrined within the legislative instrument for the multinationals, etc., they can't own the larger share, the majority share of whatever company they're going to set up when they want to come into Ghana to cultivate industrial cannabis. The majority share must be owned by local people. So they must team up with local people. And you see, what's happened in Lesotho is they've basically given away the birthright. So basically, all the Lesothians are just workers. Here, what we are promoting is that everybody becomes an entrepreneur. So if somebody comes, for example, and they take an option, one of our options, which say is to cultivate on 35 acres of land, that's their own business. That is their own business. And although we head the whole thing, they will be paid for what they produce by us, by virtue of an off-taker paying us. And so they're not just going to be our workers, they're running their own business. And this is a model that Lesotho, Zambia, Zimbabwe, none of them have. They have just become workers once again. And when the multinationals leave, they will be on their face. Here it is different. We want to establish an industry where everyone is an entrepreneur or a hempreneur, you know.
Yeah,
so,
I get you, Nana. So last one, if you'd allow me. So how will something like price be determined? Is that a collaboration between NACOC, the HAG, and the ministry and the growers? Who determines the price of the product from the farmer?
Well, that is determined by the discussions that we have with the off-takers, who are obviously not in Ghana. They're European and from the West. They determine the price.
All right, thank you very much, Nana.
Nana, thank you. This is a work in progress, so obviously we'll speak to you again. Thank you for your time. Nana Agyemang is the Hemp Association of Ghana president. Clearly, he's been doing a lot of work on this. His knowledge about the industry, the differences between the various types of hemp, very important. So, Sky, you see, and I feel Godfrey's questions were going to, what we want to prevent is to have an industry which becomes like cocoa.
Oh, good.
You see, so hopefully they will think through all of that and not just the law. You get it? Because pricing is going to determine it. He says CSR is not involved. I don't know if this is true. You are going to import the seeds. Hopefully, it says when you cross-pollinate with the local
initial
one,
investment.
you see. So it's not your regular 2x4 bequeath planter who will benefit initially. But he's saying that it's a path for them to be part. What he says, which I like, is that apart from the financial and commercial, there's also environmental benefits that's going to remove all these things from the soil. And when you cross-pollinate with the local one, it's sort of, and I don't know the science behind it, but it's saying, if I is to be believed, that then the local one then sort of assumes the form of the new one. Okay. So then eventually we can all grow it and then it will not be as high, whatever. So there's a lot of nuance here. I really wish we had a research scientist who could give us more insight into all the scientific. I'm going to do another interview and is this Sete Champon? Yes, Sete Champon is a minister for Eastern Region, but I'm not calling him because of that. I'm calling him because in the previous parliament, I think the 7th parliament,
he was the chairman of the Committee on Interior.
Wonderful. So he was the chairman of the Committee of Interior that worked on this. And mind you, he's the Interior Minister that's the main person pushing this. So what does he know about this? How long a journey has it been? And does he know how NACOC intends to implement this mandate? Honorable Seth, thanks for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning, my boss.
Good to have you. How are you?
Oh, you are the big one I always want to talk to. I'm very well.
Hey,
wonderful. Yes. So I am told reliably that you are one of the keen advocates for this bill because it was your time as chairman that it was passed initially before it was subsequently Supreme Court overturned and all of those things. What was your thinking around why this is an important bill? And why did we opt to start with industrial and medical grade and not recreational grade?
Thank you very much. Indeed, the whole conversation started under the President Mills Mahama administration. Then we, as a country, decided to reform our drug policy. The reasons were simple. The war on drugs that we've been going through, this prohibition approach by just incarcerating people, we were not making any progress. And people were getting more affected by drug use, and couriers were also increasing in their numbers. And so we needed to look for a pragmatic approach. Unfortunately, the law, when it came to the 6th Parliament, we could not pass it. So it was again brought to the 7th Parliament. And after that, it was the watch of President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo. And his immediate subordinate was the Honorable Ambrose Derry. So when it came to us in Parliament, fortunately, some of the architects at the first time when it came in were still in Parliament, were part of the committee, and all of us were there. And so we put our heads together and told ourselves, we'll fix this. We were able to fix it. The objective is to, first and foremost, in the law, we say we want to provide alternative development. We want to, again, look at stricter measures for supply reduction. We want to also ensure that demand reduction is looked at. And then if you're looking at demand reduction, reducing it, then you have to ensure that you promote harm reduction. So these are the 4 thematic areas within the drug policy reform, which led us as a group to make sure that our drug laws are in tune with what the international establishment hopes to achieve for all of us as a people. And so these are the building blocks. Now, you talked about us passing the Section 43, which was outlawed by the Supreme Court of Ghana, that yesterday the Parliament of Ghana, through the instruction and direction of the Supreme Court, came back to amend. Now, what that is supposed to do is to promote alternative development. In that same law, we have provisions that would enhance harm reduction. People who abuse substance. And in abusing substance, there is the terminology, the language today. We are not supposed to say we are not supposed to call people drug addicts. That language is a bit derogatory. And then at the same time, it doesn't promote bringing people around and helping them grow. So what we do is to ensure that we use the proper terminology in terms of harm reduction. And so our whole objective is what I have outlined in my initial statement.
Wonderful. So do we know if beyond the bill, there will be some regulations and guidelines on how NACOC operationalizes this licensing regime?
Certainly so, Bernard. Without a formal regulation by the law, backing and fleshing the law, as it is passed now, isn't effective. The regulation is going to give out the details. Like we normally say, the devil is in the details. It is in the regulation that we're going to find how NACOC is going to enforce or even deploy what we've instructed them to do by the Act. And so by the Act is a policy. We've just brought out a policy. How do we implement the policy? It will be seen and found in the regulation. And that is where we are going to go now. I'm sure that Honorable Ambrose Derry and his ministry, as well as Parliament, are working closely to provide some useful and decent regulation to give us the best of a law.
Mm-hmm. Listening to your first response, it suggests to me that your concern at the time was winning the drugs war. And it seems as if you feel like when we license this medical and industrial grade cannabis, it will sort of give impetus to replace the recreational, which is of a higher THC, which is the one that a lot of people are unhappy with. How do you hope that this new... So are you saying that, for example, we are going to grow the industrial cannabis and by some means people will stop planting the recreational one? Is that the way it's going to go? Or did the committee think about how they hope to replace the recreational use, which we are all concerned about, with this industrial and medical use?
Yes, so in our country, we do not promote recreational use of illicit drugs. If anybody uses illicit drugs, it is against the laws of the Republic of Ghana. So you realize that when the law was originally made, that Section 43 had an I and II. The I was what was outlawed. The II also follows through because you read the whole law in whole and not in part. The II was saying that this enactment is not for recreational purposes. Reasons are that this country is heavily faith-based, and we have issues we've been grappling with in respect of some psychiatric concerns. Some of these things are major worries. You and I agree that our budget is not able to support us adequately. But at the same time, that's why I use the language pragmatic. We ought to permit me to use the language street smart in our dealings in society. And so we found it prudent that pharmaceuticals are already employing some of the plant-based properties in most of the pharmaceuticals on the shelves today. And so we said, why can't we also take advantage to improve our lot as an economy? Hence, the need to look in the direction of medicinal and industrial purposes for fiber and proceed to be able to have some other interesting and economic benefits as well. So in a nutshell, in as much as we're doing war on drugs, you can't stop the people who would also want to go and use it. How do you help them? That is why I talked about harm reduction. So harm reduction is about making a conversation a human rights conversation by ensuring that people who are mere possession and users are not incarcerated, but rather offered some measures of reform. And if you're able to do that, then you have to also affect the law. So we threw away non-custodial sentence in respect of possession and use. And these are matters that have given Ghana a good spot in the community of nations today, because we made the drug policy a matter of public health, not just only war on drugs. And then we introduced again alternative development by that people who genuinely would want to farm and make some ends meet economically would have the opportunity of staying away from the illicit, the one which does not fall within the bracket of permissible lines. Then they will be able to farm and make some money. And then manufacturers who will be processing these pills will be able to take it from them. You have a value chain. And so we had this whole conversation in committee at the back of our mind. And that is why we came up with this policy.
Thank you for your time. I'm sure we'll talk again as the matter develops. But that was said, Kwame Champong, Eastern Regional Minister, former MP for Impraeso. He was the chairman of the committee for the interior that worked on this in the 7th Parliament. He did admit that this started in the 6th Parliament. So it's actually seen 3 parliaments. We're in the 8th. With some of the laws. So we are waiting for the NACOC and the ministry to come up with the regulations.
You remember that a number of years ago, the late Kofi Annan issued a statement, in which statement he was calling on world leaders to adopt an entirely new approach to dealing with drugs, because existing regulations, existing laws were not working, and enforcement rules. So one of the things that he spoke about at the time was the need for us to stop looking at persons who use drugs as criminals, and instead identify them as part of the problems, people who have problems with health. You understand, health issues are affecting them here and there. And you know what the Honourable Champon just said appears clearly consistent
with that policy,
with that position. And, the statement is here. I'm sure sometime later we
can read it.
Yeah, because for instance, let me just read 2 paragraphs or 3 paragraphs for you. It says, globally, the war on drugs has not succeeded. Some estimate that enforcing global prohibition costs at least $100 billion a year. But as many as 300 million people now use drugs worldwide, contributing to a global illicit market with a turnover of $330 billion a year, one of the largest commodity markets in the world. Prohibition has had little impact on the supply of or demand for drugs. When law enforcement succeeds in one area, drug production simply moves to another region or country. Drug trafficking moves to another route, and drug users switch to a different drug. Nor has prohibition significantly reduced use. Studies have consistently failed to establish the existence of a link between the harshness of a country's drug laws and of a country's drug laws and its levels of drug use. The widespread criminalization and punishment of people who use drugs, the overcrowded prisons, mean that the war on drugs is, to a significant degree, a war on drug users.
We'll see.
On people.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sky. We'll come back with more. This is the Citi Breakfast Show. Stay with us.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
My baby, my king, adore you.
Akusia, what do you want?
Baby, can you please send me?
Hey. Now is not the time to send you money.
Oh, baby, I just wanted you to send me your account details so I can send you some 10K for your upkeep.
Hey! Why? How?
My love, it's the Mega 6 Lotto I told you about last week. I chose 6 lucky numbers and I won!
You won?
Yeah!
Baby, I'm coming over.
This could be you by playing the Mega 6 Lotto. With only 49 numbers to choose from, the odds are always in your favor. Play with as little as 2 Ghana cedis for a chance to win millions of cedis every week. Dial *266# or visit mega6lotto.com to download our Android and iOS apps to make a mega impact on your life and the lives of others. Mega 6 Lotto. Mega winnings, mega impact. The Mega 6 Lotto is regulated and monitored by the NLA.
Twist Cupcake, another quality product from Trillium Industries. McBerry, the original.
This advert is FDA approved.
Are you looking for a university that will prepare you for the challenges of tomorrow? Look no further than Academic Citi University College. With a focus on innovation and experiential learning, you'll get hands-on experience in your field. Our world-class faculty will guide you every step of the way. And our collaborative approach to learning will prepare you for success in today's global economy. So if you are ready to make your mark on the world, Academic Citi University College is here to help you succeed. Apply now at our website www.act.edu.gh or call us on 059-403-0308. Academic Citi University College, educating future-ready leaders.
Here you go, dear.
Mom, you didn't add milk.
No need to. Taste and see why.
Wow, but how?
Is it milky?
Very.
Is it creamy?
Yes.
That's Milo all-in-one for you. It's so milky, eh? I don't need to add more milk.
I love it, Mommy.
Give your kids all-in-one. It's truly milky and rich in calcium. Milo, energy to go further. Milo. This advert is FDA approved.
Here you go, dear.
Mom, you didn't add milk.
No need to. Taste and see why.
Wow, but how?
Is it milky?
Very.
Is it creamy?
Yes.
That's Milo all-in-one for you. It's so milky, eh? I don't need to add more milk.
I love it, Mommy.
Give your kids all-in-one. It's truly milky and rich in calcium. Milo, energy to go further. Milo. This advert is FDA approved.
Now we go live in 3, 2, 1.
Airtel Tigo is now 80.
It's Airtel Tigo.
It's okay, Abna. Say Airtel, say Sadie. That you know simple cry. 80. Simple.
Tell your neighbor to tell a neighbor that your favorite telecommunication network, Airtel Tigo, is now 80. Simple. New name, but still provides you with affordable and reliable internet, clear calls, secure money services, and much more.
80. Life is simple.
It does get better anytime your favorite shop, Malcolm, says it's there for you and got you covered with all your daily need items. Continue shopping on products ranging from groceries, stationery, electronics, homeware, kitchenware, furniture, home decor, electricals, and many more at low prices. Terms and conditions apply. Malcolm, where Ghana shops.
Charlie, that be the sound you hear when things make hot. I'm sure this is not battery, just cash flow. Lajan no day. It is safe to say we are all facing challenging times. We are all wondering how we are going to lighten our financial burdens. Nowhere cool, but don't worry. With a little help from your trusted bank, Societe Generale Ghana, be Biara fine. Societe Generale Ghana is making all its customers happy with the Yatiso Loans promo. In fact, SG Ghana customers and even non-customers who are on the controller and accountant general payroll can enjoy access to our amazing discounted loans. Don't waste time. Get your loan today. Step into a branch or call 0302-214-314 to get the ball rolling. Terms and conditions apply. Remember, promotion ends on 7th August 2023. Societe Generale Ghana. The future is you.
You worry, just be happy.
Join the conversation on the Citi Breakfast Show on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag CitiCBS.
Peter Tosh, pick myself up. Samens loves Peter Tosh. And this is a special request to you from the team. And Pabing of NCC, today happens to be your birthday as well. So enjoy this one as well. And this one is coming in as well from a listener to a friend, Mr. Martin Osei, the golfer with no size, aka Bolus. Happy birthday from Efua of MTN. Enjoy this special day to Martin Osei.
Bernard, please let me do this one for Kweku David, and later I'll do one for Jojo. This one says, happy birthday to my dear Na Amele Amatefio.
Hey!
Kweku David. David. Yeah. Happy birthday
to his dear,
to my dear Na Amele Amatefio.
Yes, sir.
Esquire.
Hey, lawyer Fitai.
Yes.
Wonderful. And what's the message?
May our Lord or our good Lord smile upon you today and always.
David Sichi.
As for the party,
yes,
you know how we do it, Dada.
Hey,
he go happy. Empire Major.
Is that not a veiled threat?
I can just move lugubriously and deal with Jojo.
You run into problems.
Yeah.
We're good, David. Now I'm mainly a Matthew.
Yeah, that's right.
As for the party, no.
Yes.
You know how we do that. Empire Major. No, this has not. This message has to be. But hey, we're good, David.
It's a threat. And also, let me wish this one to Belinda. Okay, it says. Oh,
you are looking for the word, eh?
Okay, it says the special listener Belinda Kano of Snitch, Achimota branch, and then also to Juliana Johnson Saki, Benis Jechi, Empress Ahianyo, Christiana Boateng, Harriet Autry Yankee.
Are they all celebrating their birthdays today?
Well, it would seem that they have something special going on with their lives, and Jojo Bediako is saying that we should celebrate them today.
Well, if you want a British degree from a world-class university at a fraction of the cost, then Lancaster University Ghana, right here in Accra, is your answer. With a diverse student community, vibrant campus life, and 50% scholarship to support your study, Lancaster University Ghana provides you with world-class education that creates endless opportunities globally. Miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Apply to join Lancaster University Ghana. Admissions are currently open for our October 2023 intakes. Apply now for our foundation and undergraduate programs. For more information, contact 0302 218 989 or send an email to admissions@lancaster.edu.gh. Lancaster University Ghana, the only British university campus in West Africa.
Now, Old Mutual Ghana is 10 years. Join them to celebrate a decade of greatness. Now, they are a leading financial service provider that's offering innovative customer solutions across Ghana. They have a huge staff, 500 employees, and they are playing crucial roles in championing customer operations. Call them on 0501 579 204 or visit oldmutual.com.gh for more information. Old Mutual do great things every day. Heritage Christian College is at Amasaman behind the Olympic Stadium. They are a university set up to provide a missing link in tertiary education, and we offer the following degree programs: BBA programs, BSc Nursing, Information Technology, Information Security, and BA Theology. Call them on 0202298399 or 0547 777 or visit hcuc.edu.gh. Heritage Christian College, university training compassionate entrepreneurial leaders. Now, the Electricity Company of Ghana is informing everyone that between 11th July and 11th September, they will be going on a new operation called Operation Zero, and they'll be sending their staff to the premises of customers to demand payment of outstanding bills. Now, during this period, they'll grant a moratorium to all those who are consuming electricity without paying for it, to allow them to visit their respective ECG offices so they can immediately regularize their supply. Now, ECG is also saying that they will be assisted by security agencies who will apprehend and prosecute customers who attempt to interfere with the exercise. Help ECG to serve you better.
Let's talk about the Lead for Ghana Fellowship and what you need to do to benefit from this program. In studio, I have Daniel Doche. He is the CEO of Lead for Ghana. Kwabena Boama is the Senior Manager for Leadership Growth for this organization. And they're here to talk about that. Welcome, gentlemen. Good morning. Great to have you. So let's talk about Lead for Ghana. Tell us about this organization, what kind of organization it is, and how it started.
Well, thank you, Bernard. Good morning to the listeners and everyone hearing us.
Yes.
My name is Daniel Duche, the CEO and founder of Lead for Ghana. The story of Lead for Ghana is it's a bit long, so I'll try as much as possible to make it succinct because there's a personal story to that.
Okay.
Growing up, I went to school in the northern part of the country as well. So, I also come from a middle class family, fortunately, which means my parents could afford to take me to any school that they wanted to take me to. But when we got to the north, we were looking for the best schools to place myself and my brother, and the chancellor of a school called St. Gabriel's, which was the top school in the northern region at that point. However, I remember very vividly in my classroom, about 80 students in the class. Teachers barely showed up, giving homework, so whatsoever. So if this was supposed to be the top school in the northern region at that time, you can imagine what was happening.
This was a primary school?
Yeah, this was a primary school. So you could imagine what was happening in the other schools across the region. But I was too young to know what was happening within the educational system more broadly. Long story short, my mom being a very staunch advocates for education decided, look, I'm going to move my kids back to
Mhm.
the southern part of Accra,
Mhm.
which she did, put us in a private school system and everything changed.
Mhm.
My teachers showed up on time. They gave us a lot of homeworks. It was just a whole different educational system.
Mhm.
From there, ended up in Achimota School, and then from Achimota School, got a scholarship and went to the States to study.
Mhm.
But whilst I was in the US, I always come back home just to look at how my life was going and the life
Mhm.
of my colleagues.
Mhm.
I realized that my life trajectory was moving up, pretty quick, and that of my colleagues was not moving as quickly as possible.
Mm.
And these are individuals who were smarter than me in school. So it taught me that, look, I was just lucky that I was plugged from one educational system to a different educational system, and that changed my life trajectory.
Mhm.
So I thought, look, what can I do at that very young age to help contribute so
Mhm.
that the next generation of people that will come after me would not have to go through the same challenges that I went through, especially in the northern part and the less developed communities in Ghana.
Mhm.
So I decided, look, let's build libraries across Ghana.
Mhm.
So one of my co-founders, Sadiq, built a 7,000 book capacity library in the Ashanti region.
Mhm.
I think 2 years later, I constructed a 30,000 book capacity library in the Volta region. And before we decided to build the next library, we were like, look, let's do a feasibility study and see what is happening here.
Mhm.
It dawned on us very quickly that to change education in Ghana, you don't have a silver bullet solution to do that.
Mhm.
Building libraries was good, but it wasn't going to solve the problem.
Okay.
So we needed to look at it from a holistic point of view. So we
Mhm.
needed to approach education from a systemic level.
Mhm.
And that's what literally birthed Lead for Ghana.
Mm.
The idea is, how do we create an enabling environment for young people to
Mm.
go into rural communities, live in those rural communities, teach in those rural communities, but also get to understand how the least in society live.
Wonderful.
And then after that, as they leave the fellowship and they get into leadership positions,
Mhm.
if they become ministers of education or ministers
Mhm.
of finance or CEOs of corporations,
Mhm.
the decisions they make for the country will come from experience because they've lived the challenge before.
Mhm.
So on a very, long story short, has been the history of Lead for Ghana.
I like that.
And that's
So, if I get you right, you get young people to go to rural communities to experience volunteering, or is it to work or teaching? What do they go and do?
Okay, so it's a leadership development program. We call it the experiential leadership program.
Mhm.
So we recruit the best and brightest,
Mm.
recent university graduates and young professionals.
Mhm.
We run them through a very intensive leadership and teacher training program, sometimes at Chelsea or
Mhm.
other institutions for
Mhm.
about 6 weeks.
Mhm.
And then we deploy them to go into rural areas to go and teach as full-time teachers.
Paid by who?
Paid by Lead for Ghana. So this is
Okay.
not a volunteer. It's
You
actually
pay them.
We pay them
To go and
But-
teach.
To go and teach, but we use teaching as a leadership development model.
Teaching as a leadership development model.
Yeah. So as you're teaching, they're also required to identify a challenge within the community and solve it.
Okay.
So some of them bring electricity to the communities.
Mm.
Others will build a library.
Mm.
Others will bring an ICT center. Others will look for social intervention. So we're training them to also be entrepreneurs.
Amazing.
Right. So you have to work with a member of parliament within the community. You have to work with the chiefs. You have to work with the members of the community to decide on what do those community members want.
Mhm.
Then you draft the proposal against it and then raise money for it as well. So we train them on how to raise funds. We
It's
train
a very
them how to
innovative way of developing leaders and also solving a problem in a community and also
Yes.
providing a teaching. So it's like a 3 or 4. So where in Ghana are you? Where have you sent people?
We are across 9 regions.
9 of the 10.
9 out of 16.
Now the 16, okay.
Yeah, well, it will have been 9 out of 10.
Still,
before.
yeah.
Yeah, but I think probably by the end of next year we should be in all 16 regions.
What type of community? Give me examples of communities that your people are in.
Maybe I can allow.
Yeah.
Right.
Kwabena, yes.
We're in communities like Ehiamanchini in Kratchi.
Ehiamanchini.
Yeah,
What?
some pretty rural areas. So you can have a place like maybe Kratchi, south. You can have Tamale. You can have Sabalagu. You can have some communities around the Bono areas, like as well, Sankore. We're in the peri-urban and rural communities because that's where the major need is.
Wow.
Yeah.
So were you yourself one time?
Yep, I was.
Where were you sent?
I was placed in Avenopeme.
Avenopeme?
Yeah, that's Akachi South.
And how long did you stay there?
2 years. It's a 2-year fellowship.
So at the time you went, where were you? What were you doing? What had you done before?
I hadn't done anything. So
were you a student or you had graduated?
Yep, I just graduated. So the Lead for Ghana program was sort of like my
initiation
into
so you
work.
spent 2 years at Abenopeme?
Yes,
teaching at which school?
At Abenopeme Basic School. I was teaching JHS 1 to 3 science. Yeah.
How was the experience?
Just like Daniel said, it's a unique opportunity for every individual to build leadership while building working capacity, right? Because up until that point, I hadn't really developed any kind of work experience. So that was sort of like my transition into the world of work. And more so, it was also an opportunity to build that leadership, influencing, negotiation, motivating people, and also trying to contribute to something that is bigger than I am, right? Improving student
because
outcomes.
I can imagine that in this school, there would be teachers who are regularly on GES payroll, who have been teaching for many years. And you're a young guy. Where did you go to university?
UG.
University of Ghana. And then you've been sent to this place. You don't speak the language.
No.
You don't sound like someone who speaks Ebe. And then you're teaching. So how was the experience? Like teaching JSS 1 to 3?
Well, when I got to the school the first time, one of the things I noticed was the school lacked infrastructure, which is kind of like usual in these rural areas. My school had this strong stench. Apparently, because the schools weren't getting school fees and stuff like that anymore. Now they had to generate their own kind of income. So the roof or the ceiling of the classrooms were being used to harvest bat fecal matter for fertilizer.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. So the entire school had that stench. You could smell it even before you entered the school. So that was kind of like my main headache, right?
How are you going to solve this?
How can students learn in an environment like that? So speaking to the head teachers, I think I went in full force, gun blazing to solve that problem. And then I realized that for me to be able to make any impact, first of all, I had to listen
to how they got where they got to.
Exactly, right.
Don't come with your solution in a briefcase from Accra.
And it made sense, right? Because they had to be able to buy books for the school, get blackboards, chalk, and stuff like that. So what I did was then I worked with the chief and then the head teachers to figure out what other ways can we make income. And it turned out that the school had some land available. So we were like, okay, can we clear out that bat fecal matter and then maybe get that harvested fertilizer right on these farms and then use that to grow cassava, which was like the main staple in those communities. And that was sort of like, yeah, it worked. Wow. It worked.
So I'm asking you these questions in a sense to like a case study of the Lead for Ghana program. So when you went on the fellowship, what kind of preparation were you given to allow you to transition from a Dadaba guy at Legon to this problem solver at Abenopeme in Akachi South?
All right. So once you make it through the fellowship, and once you make it into the fellowship, which is a whole different ball game, you're taken through about 6 to 8 weeks of training. This is a very intensive training. I had mine at the Shesi, where we had the opportunity to learn about leadership, the opportunity to build some pedagogical skills, because you will be teaching full time. That is like your full time job. So we went through all that training. We also built some subject competencies, because I didn't see myself as a science teacher. But by the time I left that training, I could teach science, and I taught the subject really well.
Wow.
So that's sort of like the added training that you get. And this training doesn't just end there, right? Because once you get into the fellowship, you go through that training almost every 2 or 3 months. You have Lead for Ghana staff visiting you every now and then to observe your lessons, which is something that we don't have with the normal GES, right? All of that sort of like coupled with the added support that you get from these coaches builds you up. It builds your teaching capacity. You get to see where you need to improve and all of that. And the students appreciated the new model that we brought into these schools. And I think that motivated them to even learn harder.
So as we speak, how many Lead for Ghana fellows do we have, or have we had?
We have about 500.
500
individuals within the ecosystem.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, so these are people who are currently in the program and individuals who have also a part of our alumni base. Well, like they finished their 2 years and now they're working.
How long have you been doing this?
So Lead for Ghana was registered in Ghana in 2014. However, we started operations in 2016.
So you've done a good
so
7
years.
And every year, how many do you get to? How many fellows do you get to train and
So
deploy?
it's kind of ranges. So when we started quite small. We started with about 30 fellows in 15 schools, and then gradually grew to, I think this year we're bringing 150.
So you're going to deploy 150 people, train them for 8 months, and send them to communities that need them to solve problems.
Yep. So yeah, we're
predominantly to teach.
So yeah, so to teach and to solve problems, right? We are developing. At the end of the day, let's take a step back, right? This is our theory of change.
Mm-hmm.
It's look for individuals who have the capacity and wherewithal to become the next generation of leaders for Ghana. CEOs, ministers of education, presidents, and so forth. But before they get there, challenge them, create an environment for them to really learn of how to solve problems. So, we're taking these 150 people, training for those 6 weeks, and then deploy them to these communities where sometimes they don't understand the language, but which is a barrier. So the question is, how do you
survive? So there's no problem
barrier
that cannot be solved.
Exactly. The other thing too, which is very interesting, because this is also like a nation building program.
Yeah.
We have stereotypes in Ghana. We tend to pretend we don't, but on our dinner
this
tables,
people they are like this, people they are like that. So you're going to break that stereotype for the leader.
So this is what we do. If you come from Ashanti region, we place you in the Volta region. If you come from the Volta, we place you in the northern. We'll put you in areas where you don't even think of going. But by the time you live there after 2 years, you actually get to understand that these people are just Ghanaians, just like me, right? They care for me. They want to see me succeed, and I want to see them succeed as well. So when you become leaders, that nepotism of I'm going to hire people from my region, I'm going to hire people that I favor, by default, you're kind of like reducing the chances of that happening.
This is amazing. Like, how do you get money to finance this?
Great question. So majority of our funding comes from grants. We also have high network individuals and also foundations. And also there's a tiny bit that I would say is from the government, in the sense that the 2-year fellowship, we will have a partnership with the National Service of Ghana. So 1 year of your fellowship counts towards your national service if you haven't already done national service yet, which is, I think, is a great opportunity for anybody that is listening to us today. If you're about to do your national service, this is like a golden opportunity for you to get into.
So tell me about where we are with the next batch of fellows. Are you in the process of recruiting fellows? How can people apply?
Yes, we are in the process of recruiting fellows now. I think the application deadline is July 31st, which is at the end of this month. And then after that, we'll pick the 150 individuals that we need to join the fellowship, and then deploy them to go into the various schools that we want them to go into.
So how does a person listening get on board? What do they need to do to be part of this?
Okay, so I say... Well,
as in fellows, first fellows, not as donors yet. Let's talk about fellows first.
Well, the fellows is quite easy. Just go to our website, leadforghana.org or leadforghana.net, hit apply, and then go to the application process. That's how simple it is.
If I'm listening to you and maybe I'm DC for a community or MP for an area, and I say, look, I love Lead for Ghana. I want you to bring me 3 fellows. Can we have an arrangement? Because I can guess people listening fall in love with this idea. And they've never heard of this. This is such a powerful, solves all, training leaders, breaking stereotypes, solving teaching problems, everything. It ticks all the boxes. How do, from a demand side, right? How do we get you to come to where we are?
Yeah. Great question. So from a demand side, if it's a region that we are already operating in, it's relatively easy. So if someone says, okay, I need 3 fellows to come into a particular school, then we look at the school meets the kind of schools that Lead for Ghana places fellows in, which means it has to be a school that has been underperforming for quite a while. It has to be a school that has kids that come from a very low socioeconomic background, because that's our target group. If you meet those, then yes, we can go ahead and place fellows within those schools. If it's a region we've not been in yet, then we kind of move into just one school. It has to be at least 10 schools. So you're talking about maybe 30 fellows to move into a region. And the reason for that is you have to support those fellows once they're in the region. It wouldn't make financial sense for us to just send support to just one school.
It makes sense to have them to be a lot.
Exactly. Have the critical mass, because that also demonstrates academic outcomes.
Are we seeing an improvement in the schools' academic outcomes? Have you tracked that? Is it possible to share some evidence?
Yes,
of
yes.
what
Maybe
your
I'll let
students,
Kobe talk about
So
that.
when since 2016, so now we have seen a steady growth BC pass rate of about 67%. So every year you see that like if we enter into a school where maybe the pass rate at that point was like 5 or 10%, you have that 67% annually, right? And we stay in school for about 6 years. That's the MOU that we signed with the school. So
Wow.
after the 6 years, we should have changed, significantly changed these students' performances. And then we should have changed the culture of the school as well,
Wow.
so that when we leave, the school can run effectively.
On average, how many people would you send to one school?
3.
And you give them a mandate to change the culture of a school.
Yes.
But that is very daring.
That is ambitious.
It is because we have high expectations for our fellows. But if you also look at the kind of individuals we recruit, so every year we'll probably get like maybe 2,000 registered applicants. Out of that 2,000 registered applicants, they go through the entire pipeline, and you're picking maybe 150. That's a small number to pick from a group of people. And you're also looking at your academic achievements in university. You're looking at what kind of clubs you led in the university and so forth. The thing we've noticed is that people that have high expectations for themselves by default have high expectations for their students. Right? So if you're a student who's always scoring 80s and 90s in class, you expect your students to score the same as well. So if you're not scoring those marks, it becomes, what are the extra things I can do to pull my kids up? This is one story I think it's important to tell. And there's a school in the Volta region. Before Lead for Ghana moved into that school, I think for the past 7 years, no one had qualified to get into senior secondary school.
Wow, 7 years.
7 years. In any country, that school probably would have been closed down. So we placed 2 Lead for Ghana fellows within that school. 2 years later, every person in JHS got into senior secondary school.
You are not kidding me.
I'm not kidding you. That's when I knew that the return on investment on this was so massive that it will almost be a crime if we didn't expand this to as many schools as possible. That became, the hallmark of this can work.
This is possible.
This is possible. This can be done. It's just a
But
matter of
you yourself, what are you? Are you like some philanthropist? Because you seem to have a... I mean, look, it's amazing. Are you some like rich man who got some...
No, not at all.
$1 million after resigning from Microsoft?
This is my... So when I'm a biomedical engineer by training, when I was in the US, I think I was one of those avid people who would always criticize Ghana and the politicians and how things are not, working well in the country and so forth. And I think on my 26th birthday, I told myself, like, look, you can't be outside the ring and be making noise and criticizing people. You need to get in the ring, roll up your sleeve, and do what you can to build a better Ghana for all of us, not just Ghana but Africa itself. Because the way my colleagues from China, India, and stuff,
the way they are reintegrated back into their societies,
Absolutely.
the way they are trained, we don't give back enough here.
Exactly. So I went to my boss and I said, look, I'm quitting my job and I'm moving back home. So that was just the story. So I left the US in 2014.
You are quitting your job?
Yeah, I left the US. I mean, my parents were not. I also had quite some supportive parents. You can imagine your child calling from the US and saying, I'm coming back home, when they've invested so much
and he's coming to start an organization.
Yeah.
That depends on donor funds.
Exactly. But I think I had that kind of a little bit of self-belief that if there were young people who could make this happen, I could probably be one of those people who can be a game changer. So we put together a business plan and literally just raise funds against it. And
I'm intrigued by this. So let's talk about how two final points. Where do you see this going? So you started 2014ish. 2016 in essence. Now it's how many fellows? So many fellows. What's the next level? What do you hope to do with this?
Well, I think our long-term vision, which is by 2050, which is not too far if you think about it deeply, is that any child in this country, once they walk into a classroom, I don't care whether it's in Navrongo or East Legon or airports or Avenopoma or Avenepodo or Akachi, doesn't matter. Once they walk into a classroom in this country, they should receive the best possible education that will help them develop themselves, their family, their communities, and the country Ghana. And I think that's the only way we can build a more wealthy, a more innovative, and a more influential country that benefits everybody. That's the long-term goal. And the only way we can achieve that is really to develop the leadership capacity of the next generation.
Yes.
Right? We have to focus on them. So that's why I see Lead for Ghana going, and I hope that we continue to have the funds to recruit more young, university graduates and young professionals to go into these communities to make the kind of transformational impacts that we see.
Which brings me to my next question. People want to partner Lead for Ghana and want to support. What do they do? What's the plan?
Yeah, I think there are three ways here. We have a research arm, which enables us to make sure that before we move into a community, we are not just moving in blindly. We actually have data to support our strategy. So we try to call on to foundations and corporations that want to support our research program to support us financially to do so. There's also the fellowship arm, which is the developing the leadership capacity of young people as well. And then there's the infrastructure bit. Infrastructure also costs funds. So we try to get this, corporates to join us in terms of helping improve the infrastructure of the schools that we are in, but also to help us place more fellows within the schools that we operate in.
Wow. I'll take a final comment from Kwabena, who is a senior manager for Lead for Ghana's. You are in the leadership growth team.
Yep.
And alumnus of Lead for Ghana.
Yep.
Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I think this is really a unique opportunity. For me, it's been life-altering because right after school, like I mentioned, this has been I found what I needed to do or what I wanted to do in life very early on. But for those who are in their final year, I would encourage you to apply. It's a rigorous process, but at the end of the day, you learn a lot more about yourself. You build leadership. You build a social capital. And I think that's something that we haven't stressed on enough, right? Because you come into a cohort of people that move with you for 2 years, and they stay with you throughout the entire fellowship program, and that becomes your currency for whatever career that you want to pursue next. So I think if you're interested, just apply.
Yeah, I want to encourage listeners to go to the website. There's a lot you can learn, and some of the numbers are very stark. 91% of children in Ghana enrolled in primary school. Only 16% graduate with a university degree. 32% of school children in Ghana are not learning. The poor 20% of Ghanaians receive 3.3 years of education. The richest 20% receive 9.2 years of education. Lots of things. For me, what I'm fascinated about is, a lot of people, when they come to do civil society, they try to instigate change by sort of putting pressure on government to do this, that, or the other. What you guys have done is that you're actually solving a problem, and it's working. And I think that's really great. I think this is the way to go. And, I was always telling people that because our problems are so many, you don't need a solution that's just one-sided. So the problem has many heads. So the solution to has many cutlasses. So basically, it's amazing. It's solving. It's a fascinating thing, and I hope you take it to the next level. I think, and I need to commend you for this amazing stuff. So guys, if you are listening to this, you are a big businessman, you are an MP, whatever, get in touch with them. Talk about how you can help them to make this a more permanent intervention.
Sustainable.
Yeah, I like it, and I think it's fantastic. So Daniel, thank you for being on the show. He's a CEO for Lead for Ghana. Kwabena Boama is a product of the fellowship, and he's also the senior manager for the program. They have a next cohort that you have to apply. So if you are in university listening to this show, go to Lead for Ghana and apply. Those of you who say, I want to do national service with Citi, this is a better national service. Go and work in the bush for 2 years.
Yeah, it is.
You'll be a better person.
It is.
I'm telling you, I thought for a year, it wasn't in a bush, it was just in a normal school. But I'm telling you that the 2 jobs I did, working as a teacher and selling books, it made me very resilient.
I also thought for my service, you kind of underestimate the value until you teach students 3, 4, 5 years later, and they come back and say, you know what, those times you shared with us in the classroom, those times shared they shaped my thinking and they provided, a better perspective to
And when
life.
you see them making it, it's
you are
like your
happy.
student is a doctor at Kolebu.
You
in giving your children injection. They say, wow. So yeah, keep it up, guys. Thank you. So look, this is great stuff. Talking to Daniel Doche, CEO lead for Ghana Kwabena Boama from the same organization. Before we check out, if you've loved the show, drink water.
Yeah, you need
drink standard water.
You need to cool the
drink it.
Yes.
Think
about it. They've been giving us water for over 25 years. Yes. They are in 11 regions. They are expanding. And if you want any kind of water, so if you want sachet water, they have you. Bottled water, dispenser, mounted jar water. If you have a special occasion, standard water will give you water. Call them on 0202 055 703 or 0547 334 385. And this ad is FDA approved.
Pressure that I should play Ganja Farmer from Marlon Asher. So you let me just play it without hoping that the IGP will not call me after the show that I have violated some law. So I beg, play out. Often that I hear something that makes me so excited, and listening to Daniel and Kwabena is a truly innovative thing they're doing.
That's true.
And this is one of the reasons why I tell people that don't just give up and leave the country.
You have faith in the system.
Charlie, you take 3 students from university, put them in a school that has not had anybody progress to SSS. Yeah. And in 3 years, everybody's in SSS.
Bernard, I had colleagues in Legon who were part of this. They went up north to go teach, and even for their personal growth, many of them are studying and learning and doing other things.
It changed their life.
And some too are in Ghana doing more things. So it's amazing.
This is what we want. This is what we want. I love it. I really love it. Fantastic. Great job from Daniel and his team. And if you're a student, apply. It will change your life.
New medication.
All right, that's all we have time for today's edition of the Citi Breakfast Show. And Caleb Kuda is in studio with the news.